Mic check 1 2. Mic check. All right, shout outs to respective gentlemen. He says, I like your logic. Uh, Tren, Cochran. Okay, sorry, I couldn't read that like just, closely together. Okay, Cochran. Okay, as in Johnny Cochran. Shout outs to you. He says hi. Landon, he says hi. All right, man. Some new people in the chat. Let me know what part of the world you are from. Like and subscribe. We will be on in just a second, just working on the thumbnail, and then we will get the live stream cracking. Mario De Leon says, bro, one real punch in the six did all that. Yeah, man. And you know what? His whole entire jaw is busted right now. He is on liquid diet. And then what else? I think he, man, it's seven of his teeth is, knocked out. I didn't even know that is possible with boxing gloves, to be quite honest with you. I mean, of course, we've seen Floyd get his tooth knocked out by what was that Argentinian's name? You guys know who I'm talking about, that Argentinian boxer that he boxed in 2014. But other than that, I didn't think that could happen. But yeah, we'll discuss that in a second. Shout outs to all the people that are in here right now. We will be on in just a second. Just right, less than 10 minutes from now, or yeah, less than in the 10-minute mark. We're at the 6-minute mark, so just be patient for a second. He says he carried him all the way to the six. Yeah, look, I don't know about that. I don't think he carried him, and then we'll talk about the technicalities behind that, of course. Mario De Leon says Christmas has been good this year. Tate and Nepal back to back. I think you're referring to their losses. Reap what they sowed. Well, I tell you what, yeah, even though I don't celebrate Christmas, I will say that it is an interesting end of the year, right? So in about 2 minutes, we will discuss that. I will be on live on camera in just a second. All right, less than 2 minutes will be on. All right, here we go, guys. So we are going to start the stream right now in less than 60 seconds, okay? So bear with me. Less than 60 seconds, we're going to get it cracking. All right, there we go, guys. So we got about a couple of seconds left, and then we're gonna get right back on it, okay? So a couple of seconds, and then we should get right back on it. All right, 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to a recap of a very interesting weekend. Obviously, we had Jake Paul retiring after getting his jaw broken by Anthony Joshua. Now, Andrew Tate getting fraud checked by Chase DeMore. Now we got Anthony Joshua possibly fighting Tyson Fury next. Let's hear what Tyson Fury had to say about the fight. How about this, right? A very interesting weekend for UFC fans in particular. Okay, let me tell you why. Oops, let me get my charger right here. Okay, so let me tell you why it's a very interesting weekend, right? Usually, most UFC weekends, you will see in Anderson Silva getting his butt whooped by a very unlikely contender in, let's say, Uriah Hall. Okay, in some UFC weekends, you would see the likes of Paddy Pimblett beating the living heck out of Tony Ferguson. Not this weekend. No, not this weekend. Heck, even Anthony Joshua, you could throw in there and say, you know what, this is a guy that has lost to Usyk twice, right? He constantly loses the big one to what many people perceive as pressure, right? Pressure under lights when it comes to, let's say, fighting Andy Ruiz, the way that he lost to Andy Ruiz. Also, the way that he has lost to Alexander Usyk twice. But here's something very deadly about Anthony Joshua that a lot of people didn't realize going into this weekend. One of the things that they didn't realize about Anthony Joshua was when he fought Alexander Usyk, he fought the best fight of his life, but he still lost. Do you understand what I mean by that? What I mean by that is even though he lost that fight, that version of Anthony Joshua was better than the Anthony Joshua that had fought, let's say, Kubrat Pulev, the likes of Carlos Takam, all these other names that you would normally see Anthony Joshua walk through, right? He did better in the Usyk fight than he actually did in a win. Now, he lost those two fights, made a good account of himself. As a matter of fact, can you tell me a fighter, other than, believe it or not, which is crazy to say, Derek Chisora, that did better than Anthony Joshua? Okay, other than Derek Chisora, because Derek Chisora did well against Alexander Usyk for all that's worth, right? He did very well against him. Okay, but now Anthony Joshua is going into a fight where not only is he much better than he ever was before, but now he's taking on somebody that should not be on his level, and that's literally what we saw this weekend. Now, what about Tony Ferguson winning in 2025? Man, that's 2 in a row now after this boxing weekend. And how about Anderson Silva winning this weekend with a KO on his fellow UFC legend, former UFC title holder at 170, while Anderson Silva was a contender and a champion at 185, Tyrone Woodley. Okay, and now Anderson Silva wants to become an LAPD cop, in particular, Beverly Hills, right? Oh man, after hearing that, I'm hearing Beverly Hills cop music playing in my head. Dun 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 dun. I think Anderson Silva, the next time he fights, or if he continues to fight from here on, because I don't know if he's going to go into police work full time, which, as you would imagine, will probably take up a vast majority of his time, right? Or maybe he just decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to work part-time and not really work in a capacity where, you know, he's doing 12-hour, well, you're going to have to do 12-hour shifts or 16-hour shifts sometimes as a police officer. I'm talking about Anderson Silva, right? But not days in a row, right? He can ask to be off because, let's be honest, probably after this weekend, Anderson Silva is not strapped for cash in any kind of way. So he's basically going into the police academy and going into the police force with the zeal and the, how do I say this? The zeal and the motivation to just solely become a police officer, right? So he's not doing it for a retirement. He's not pensions or anything like that. He genuinely wants to give back to the country that gave a lot to him, and in particular, the region that gave a lot to him, which is LA. Mario DeLeon says Disney Club 33 doesn't give you the dog in you you need to box. Okay, so Disney Club 33 doesn't give you the dog in you to need to box. Very interesting reference there for Jake Paul, right? Obviously, what Mario DeLeon is referencing is the fact that Jake Paul is a former Disney kid who became a boxer. And let me just say this, right? I think he came a long way, but at the same time, I'm really curious to know what people sort of criteria as a boxer, right? Because a lot of these boxing guys, I'm going to be honest with you, they have a serious gatekeeping mentality. Many of the boxers, right? Very serious gatekeeping mentality. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at what Paulie Malignaggi has said after this fight, right? Just the disparaging comments that Paulie Malignaggi had for this fight. He said that Anthony Joshua, I don't know what he said about Anthony Joshua. I think something to the effect where he should retire, or this was embarrassing on the part um, of Anthony Joshua. I don't know why. Okay, but let's hear what he has to say, right? An 8-minute video here. He says, Jake ran for his life and I almost left the arena. Netflix wasted $100 million on this. Yeah, very negative. Just a very negative connotation on the part of Paulie Malignaggi. And the question is why? What is motivating his negativity in this, right? What is the purpose of him like just throwing so much shade and negativity to this event? Well, I'll tell you why. Paulie Malignaggi is a boxing gatekeeper, okay? Because here's the reality of boxing that I think a lot of you might find reprehensible if you are a boxing head yourself. Here's the truth. Anybody can become a boxer. Wow. Okay, there's some silence there after I said that, right? Yeah, anybody can be a boxer. The question is, how elite do you want to be? And sometimes that is not predicated on your past experience. For example, there's a lot of guys that were former Olympic champions that don't necessarily translate well into pros. Yorkis Gamboa is a great example of that. Okay, was a gold medalist, never really amounted to anything. Also, how about Tony Yoka, the French heavyweight boxer, right? You got all these heavyweights in the scene right now. Fabio Wardley came from the white-collar scene. Daniel Dubois never had the Olympic experience that Anthony Joshua or all these other top champions in the past have had, such as Oscar De La Hoya, and then the list goes on of Olympic champions that went on to become world champions, right? It never translated well for Tony Yoka. It never translated well for him, I think, because he didn't have Daddy Eddie Hearn the way that Eddie Hearn was sort of cultivating the career of Anthony Joshua. Well, let me tell you this, right? It really matters how you cultivate your career in boxing. It matters. The reason why Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua and why Anthony Joshua is not Tony Yoka or Yorkis Gamboa is because he had the right backing from day one, the right matchmaking that was meticulous to constantly improve him. If you look at all the top boxers that you know, some of their first early 10 to 20 fights have been fighting guys that are not full-time fighters, i.e. taxi drivers, or in the modern context of it, Uber drivers, right? They always say, well, you fought an Uber driver nowadays, right? Well, that is derived from the metaphor of saying that these journeyman boxers are taxi guys, right? This is something that they used to say back in the day. So they use these guys to build themselves up. Jake Paul didn't do anything different. He didn't do anything different at all. The only difference was that he was doing it with high-profile athletes, high-profile MMA fighters, and as a result of that, for whatever reason, we find this even more cringy than, let's say, your average boxer that just got out of Team GB or Team USA boxing or boxing in the Olympics and then going into the pros only to do the same thing, but with guys that don't have the names like Nate Robinson, okay? Don't have the names like Tyrone Woodley, don't have the names like Ben Askren. These were all big names prior to them going into boxing. Now, Jake Paul found a lane, by the way, a very exploitive lane that I think many fight historians need to look at, right? That lane was using MMA fighters that were broke and that needed a payday, okay? That is what Jake Paul offered to a lot of these guys, which, by the way, exposed an industry of, well, you could say foul play, you could say the aspects of lack of money. But look, here's the thing about fighter pay that I really want to emphasize, right? Because a lot of fighters have a very entitled mentality about this, and I'm wondering whether they should or they shouldn't, right? And I'm talking about the guys in the prelims. I'll give you an example. Yes, Mario DeLeon says MMA needs an Ali Act. Yes. The problem is MMA doesn't classify in the same circumference as mixed martial arts, because when mixed martial arts came into the scene, they were basically their own thing, right? They were not only their own commission, I'm talking about the UFC, but they were their own sanctioning bodies as well. You look at what happened with Terrence Crawford in the latter part of his career, in which he got stripped from his WBC belt, right? Which is weird because it was only the WBC that was pushing for it. And the next thing you know, he decides to retire. But I think the retirement of Bud Crawford was heavily influenced by the WBC's stripping of him, because otherwise it seems like Terrence Crawford was ready to move on with other competitions, right? But now he just decides he wants to leave up top. Here's the thing about fighter pay that I wanted to say, right? Do the fighters in the prelims really deserve it? Because the argument is they're not there to see you because you're not the headline, right? You're not Pantoja and Joshua Van. You're not Marab or Peter Yan, right? You're not Alex Pereira or Tom Aspinall, right? You're not the main event. You're the prelims guy. So, you know, you don't really deserve none of that, right? That is the quintessential mindset of promoters in the UFC and their executive staff, along with their matchmakers. This is the overall prevalent attitude that they have going on. So as a result of that, what happens is now you have fighters who, I would argue, okay, just to play advocate, because you know I play advocate on a lot of things, right? To make things even, so that I can give you an even, balanced perspective, okay? What it is that the bulk of the entire viewership, okay, sometimes comes from the prelims. I'll give you an example, right? On my live streams, the majority of my concurrent live audience in my stream is usually within the prelims, or just right before the prelims, or just right under the main card, undercard, okay? That is where the bulk and the majority of my viewership comes from. Now, I'm speaking from anecdotal experience from my own channel, right? But how much of that is true also in the concurrent viewership of, let's say, ESPN, or what will be Paramount, the TV deal that the UFC is going to have in the next year, right? How much of that is within the bulk of the prelims and the main card? I'm talking about the viewership, right? So in that sense, maybe, just maybe, these MMA fighters have a war cry, or a legitimate concern, or a legitimate case to say, as, you know what, we deserve the majority of these shares because we are the backbone of the viewership, right? And yeah, I mean, think about that. You would think there is probably more viewership on the free TV, which is heavily available, right? You just turn on ESPN, or in nowadays Paramount, right? As opposed to, let's say, the main card, which you have to watch through a paywall, right? So imagine, this is how a pay-per-view MMA card starts, right? Or at least within the UFC. You got 11 fights, or 12 to 14 fights at most at a card, okay? And 5 of those fights are behind a paywall, okay? So once that 7 p.m. starts, and by the way, it's going to start now at 6 p.m. They're moving their main card to 6 p.m., which I think is a great idea for the West Coast, right? So, yeah, 6 p.m., and that's behind a paywall, right? He says, an American fighter can't live on 12 to 12. Yes, that is true. He says, we are never getting a solution. That is very true. Mario DeLeon says, yes, you are a pro now. Get paid like one. Huh. Okay, yeah, there it is, right? Yeah, and then I see a lot of these dudes. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? Philip Rowe. I follow Philip Rowe on my Facebook, right? This dude is extremely proud to be a UFC fighter, right? I'm going to say that I think he's more proud to be a UFC fighter than actually getting paid from MMA. Why do I say that? Because if Philip Rowe, and I'm not picking on Philip Rowe, but he's just a classic example, and somebody that I just know off the bat because he is, you know, fact check, he is not proud to be a fighter. Who in particular are you talking about? Are you talking about Philip Rowe, or are you talking about someone else, you know, beyond that? Give me some context on what you're saying. Shout out to Kyle Proctor. First time I'm seeing you in here. Let me know what part of the world you are from. You are very welcome to be here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So, yeah, going back to Philip Rowe, right? He's so proud to be a UFC fighter, right? But I feel like he would probably make more money in Russia, would probably make more money in the Octagon, right? The Octagon League, which I believe is in the Czech Republic or Poland or something like that, or maybe even KSW. That's the Polish, promotion right there. He would probably make more, but there's a prestige in being a UFC fighter, right? I think in the long run, if he stays the course in being in the UFC, I think that he can build something off of that, right? There is a certain resume that you have when you can say, hey, you know what, I've worked for the UFC, or if you are in sports management or something like that, you could say something to the effect of, well, I've worked for the Sacramento Kings, or I've worked for the New York Knicks, or I've worked for, a legitimate championship team, right? This is a prevalent reality for many people that are trying to reach, let's say, a certain status, right? If you're in the world of sports management, and let's say you're working for a minor league team, it's not as prevalent as, let's say, if you are working for one of these sports teams. But I tell you what, a lot of people that I know work in sports management and work with these sports teams, they barely make like, minimum wage at, after graduating college, but the prestige of working for, let's say a sports team is somehow more prevalent. So, Kyle Proctor says, fact check, this host knows his stuff. Man, thank you so much, Kyle Proctor. I try to be very knowledgeable to MMA. Obviously, I've trained for a very long time, but now that after training for a long time, I am now learning the business of mixed martial arts, combat sports, boxing, and learning it with you guys and sharing this information with each other to create entertainment out of it. So hopefully, I hope that you do enjoy that, and I hope that you do stay in the future to get this cracking. Mario DeLeon says, fighters get millions of appearances rather than fighting. Fighters get millions of appearances rather than fighting. Okay, there's something to be said about that. For example, a couple of years ago, before the Saudis had blown up into this conglomerate of, combat sports monopoly, I remember they had all these people show up at a party, right? You had Israel Adesanya there. You had Chuck Liddell. I'm like thinking, what in the Ramzan Kadyrov party is going on here? You got all these MMA fighters. You got all these boxers. And then Paulie Malignaggi, by the way, he's going to be the subject matter that we're just going to talk about. He was there hosting the entire event. And man, let me tell you, the coffee that I was drinking while I heard Paulie Malignaggi speak Arabic, okay, I was like, what? Paulie Malignaggi speaking Arabic? But yeah, it was one of them things. I think this was back in 2019, but I was like, yeah, these are the type of appearances that many of these fighters get just to show up. And and Paulie Malignaggi has complained about Turki El-Sheikh before, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he minds taking his money. But in any regard, let's hear the negative aspects that many of these boxers are saying about this particular fight, right? Because I think we can analyze the contrasting cultural differences between these fighters, right? And between how X, Y, and Z looks at one situation over the other. Because obviously, a lot of us in the MMA world right now are ultimately happy for the weekend's results. Now, as far as Paulie Malignaggi, he doesn't really feel that same way, but let's check out what he has to say, okay? He says, Jake ran for his life, and I almost left the arena. Netflix wasted $100 million on this. So he did this video as soon as he got out of the arena in Miami. So he was live in Miami on the scene. Let's hear what he had to say after the fact.
What did I just watch? This is Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV. What did I just watch? All right? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua's over. Thank God it's over. What a joke of a fight. I was hoping that I could at least give Jake credibility and say, you know what, he took this challenge. Even if it's for a lot of money, he still had the guts to walk to the ring and all this stuff.
So there it is. He's already prefacing to you guys, well, you know what? I want to give Jake all the credit in the world, but for whatever reason, I'm just not going to give him credit because I'm a shill of the boxing world and I'm a gatekeeper of boxing. And anytime boxing is being insulted in any kind of way, I'm going to go and defend it to the fullest extent. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to give him credit because if I give him credit, then I'm going to look like a D-riding shill. And I'm not that, but I'm a D-riding shill for the rest of the boxing world anyway.
I was hoping, you're gonna get knocked out anyway, dude. Like I was hoping I could say, you know what, because he earned the respect of boxing fans by going out on his shield. The guy just ran for his life. I just watched Jake Paul run for his life for like 5-6 rounds. Literally, he was doing football jukes. You guys watched that fight? Ring was big. Yeah, made a freaking point about that ring being big, and he used it to his advantage in terms of survival in every way he could. I mean, this guy literally never tried to win a second of the fight. He was trying to throw a home run punch every once in a while. And notice every time he got in the clinch, he just went down. Like he just hugged Anthony Joshua and then like would go down and.
Now, as for Paulie not understanding what that was, let me explain that in mixed martial arts jargon. He was shooting in for a takedown. Okay? Like, that's the best way to really describe it. He was coming in there to shoot in for a takedown, and, that's not something Paulie Malignaggi knows anything about. But, yes, just so you're at it. Okay. He says, T-Y at it. Is that a way of saying at it? I don't understand what that symbol is. It's an A with some sort of cross letter T. Yeah, explain what that symbol is with the A on that Mario De Leon. This one right here. Let me highlight that one right here. Let me see here. Let me highlight that. Let me pin that message. Yeah, what is that symbol right there? Let me know, my man.
The referee would call it a slip and give him a break, and like he would just kill time that way. Then he was completely angling off. He's completely bladed his shoulder off completely to the point where he's so bladed off that he can't even punch. He was just trying to make himself as small of a target as possible. And Anthony Joshua, people are gonna say, "Oh, why didn't Anthony Joshua catch up to him?" Because Anthony Joshua didn't have fast feet to begin with. And Anthony Joshua, honestly, should have probably cut off the ring a little bit better. That's my one critique of Joshua. He probably could have cut off the ring a little bit better. At a really, Joshua.
Okay, he said, "LOL." It was okay. Got it.
Was always never really had the best feet, but in terms of cutting off the ring, could have at least done that. But honestly, what do you want the guy to do? I mean, this guy ran for his life in a 22 by 22 ring. That ring was huge. That ring was huge. I can't believe what I just watched, guys.
I tell you what, I did mention prior to the event, and by the way, I did edited that in there in a new video that I have out right now that I urge you guys to take a look at. Right? Yeah, man. I said that he was going to run, but he was going to run in a way where he was going to circle around, and that's exactly what he did, right? But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're in there with a guy that can easily knock you out. Well, the answer to that is maybe you should not be fighting guys like that, right? That seems like a simple enough solution, isn't it? Right? But for $70 million or $90 million or however many dollars this fight was worth to these fighters, listen, that's what Jake had to do. I mean, Jake was just in survival mode. I would agree to that, but not necessarily in the mode of trying to win, at least in the perception of many people out there.
Seriously, like, dude, that's it. This was AJ's chance. Could have went out on his shield and his chance to say, yeah, get the respect of the boxing community. This was the one that could have got him the respect of the boxing community. This was the one. He came.
I don't understand this concept that he's talking about, right? Because he's saying that, you know what, the boxing community would have respected you more if you went out on your shield. So in other words, they would have respected you more, or maybe they would have enjoyed it more to see him get knocked out very early on rather than surviving and getting some rounds in there and then maybe even just having some kind of learning lesson out of this fight from Anthony Joshua, right? But the way that Paulie is prefacing this, he's saying that he wanted to see Jake Paul go out of his shield. Yeah, man, I don't know about all that. By the way, we're going to get to Jake Paul talking about retirement as well in a second. So let's see. Yeah.
All these rap crap and doing the Hulkamania crap and all that other stuff and all that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, Is he that calm, or is he literally just setting up his own demise? I don't know. AJ came out to the ring really serious, which would you expect?
I mean, what exactly? See, this is what I mean, right? Like, what exactly did you want Jake to do? Like, have this mentality where, oh man, I'm going in here against a boxing guy, so now I'm going to midget myself because there's all these other boxing people that don't believe I should be here, so I should act accordingly. I shouldn't be excited that Tekashi 6ix9ine is walking me out. Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be excited for Tekashi 6ix9ine to walk me out. No way. Right? You know, I would rather have one of my homies that I know that is solid and that raps that would walk me out, right? Rather than Tekashi 6ix9ine. But I get it. Jake is, you know, he's an internet streamer. Tekashi 6ix9ine is a bit of an internet streamer nowadays rather than an artist. So he's sort of in that same line of trajectory. And it's Miami, even though Tekashi 6ix9ine is a New York guy. He frequents himself in Miami, and so it was just an opportunity for Jake Paul to have that going on. But yeah, I did notice the Hulkamania thing, the whole extravagant entrance that Jake Paul was trying to do, and that's that. So, but Paulie Malignaggi obviously didn't like it, which is surprising. I mean, he's a boxing guy. This is something I would expect from Dana White, for him to say, well, I don't like all these grand entrances or this, that, and the other. It's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't respect it. And as a result, this is, yeah. So I don't know if I, you know, I don't know if I share those sentiments with Paulie, especially somebody who comes from the boxing world where their whole entire entrances are nothing but pageantry and bravado, right? Rather than the UFC, they just have a DJ in the background playing the song that you want. Okay, you want to walk out to Tupac? Cool. Walk out to Tupac and that's it. You want to walk out to 50 Cent? Cool. Walk out to 50 Cent and that's it. Next thing you know, 4 minutes later, you're in a fight, right? It's as simple as that, right? First, they pat you down, obviously. You know, they give you those little Vaselines in your face and this and that. They, you know, at the prep point, and then you go and fight and that's it. Right? But, yeah. In boxing, it's a little more elaborative than that, so.
And then, I mean, he never fought. He never fought. Jake never fought. Like, he never fought the whole fight. And then in the end, what happened? You get stopped anyway. You took some shots anyway. His mouth was bleeding at the end of the fight.
You got knocked out anyway, you took some shots anyway, so in other words, just fight like you are a madman, and because, look, let's be honest about this, right? It's like this. How do I say this in a very politically correct way without, you know, triggering the algorithm in a negative direction, right? Okay. All right, like this, right? You play GTA, right? You ever been in a shootout in GTA? Right, I was going to say just a regular shootout, but let's, you know, use video games as an example, right? Okay, in the shootouts in GTA, right, there's areas that you hide and duck, right, just like real life, okay? Just like in real life, there are areas that you duck and hide from when you're in a shootout in GTA, right? You're in that hiding spot, and you're staying there, it's secure. The enemy can't find you. You're just hiding there. And what does the enemy say on the headset while you guys are shooting each other in Call of Duty or GTA? He says, man, come out of there. You know, you stay in the same place all the time. You stay hiding there or this and that. You're not engaging in the action. Well, why are you saying that? If, let's say, you are the opposition of that Call of Duty player, you know, right next to you. The reason why you're saying that is because that guy is not engaging in a matter. He is not engaging. Okay, he says you camper. Okay, so that's the video game term for it, right? A camper. That's what they're gonna call them, right? A camper. Oh, you're a camper because you're hiding from X, Y, and Z. Well, of course they're hiding from X, Y, and Z because they don't want to get shot and they want to give themselves the best defensive mechanism possible. Jake Paul was no different doing that. And funny enough, they mentioned in the Cameron face-off how they both played laser tag with each other and they were arguing about who got who in that one. But yeah, Paulie Malignaggi didn't like the fact that Jake Paul was a camper because he wanted to see a shootout action, right? But listen, if you want to see a shootout action, that is not up to you. That is up to the player that is playing on the stage at that time. That's just what it really comes down to.
Like, so you took shots anyway. all it would have took 3 minutes of misery. Just go out, fight. Just go out and attack. Just fight like a kamikaze. Just attack. It'll be over in less than 3 minutes, and you would have got more respect from the boxing community than you.
It would have been over in less than 3 minutes. So that's what you want out of Jake Paul, is for him to end the fight in 3 minutes rather than using the boxing skills that he's already had. And it's funny that he's saying this. This is coming from a guy who predicated his whole entire career off of running. And that is because, like Floyd Mayweather, Paulie Malignaggi had hand injuries, okay, in the latter stages of his career. So he had to adjust his fighting style to exactly that. You look at Paulie Malignaggi's record, right? How many knockouts has Paulie Malignaggi produced in his career? Let's take a look at the... he says Artem got Paulie. He did, man. He did. And granted, that was BKFC. So BKFC is a little bit different, right? It's a different sport, right? Way different than boxing. And I think that Artem Lobov exploited that fact. So, okay. Sam Eggington was his last fight. I remember that fight. That was literally the same fight where he fought Sam Eggington and then went back to the commentator's desk. So out of 36 wins and 8 losses, he's been knocked out 5 times, and he's only had 7 knockouts in his whole entire career, and has had 29 decisions. So you're talking about a guy who runs. Now, listen, did he run from Sam Eggington? He probably did. Aki Jodo says hi. Shout out to you, Aki Jodo. Shout out to you, my man. Shout out to you. Welcome. Glad to see some familiar faces here. You know, I usually have the same usual suspects pull up, right? Sometimes different people. Sometimes those same people that are usually here are not here, but nonetheless, I welcome you here either way, man. Shout out to you, and thank you for tapping in. So, okay, let's, yeah, 7 knockouts out of 36 and 8 in his whole career. Out of over 40 fights, almost 50 fights, 7 knockouts by Artem Lobov. I'm sorry, by Paulie Malignaggi, not Artem Lobov. Sorry about that. Okay, so back to Paulie.
Now you're not going to get any respect. Now it's freaking crazy. I can't believe what I was watching.
He says, I was happier to see Anderson Silva knock out Tyrone Woodley. Yeah, man. Yeah, and then now becoming a Beverly Hills Cop, right, which is a very interesting story in and of itself. Obviously, it was a big win for a lot of the old school UFC guys this weekend, and a big loss for a lot of the influencers that are essentially being seen as, you know, as the quintessential meme of chat shit, get banged type of thing, right? But I have a different perspective on that. I'm giving you that perspective. I am in the perspective that, hey, you know what? Jake went out there and tried. Andrew Tate went out there and tried. But at the same time, there's a reason why a lot of this backlash is going on. Yes, even Tony Ferguson, right? It's great seeing that. If you're a true MMA hardcore, I mean, this was a great weekend for you, right? It was like seeing your old grandmaster get out there and win, right? You know, you ever had these jiu-jitsu instructors in a gym that fight in the seniors division, right? This is sort of what Tony Ferguson and Anderson Silva did. They fought in some seniors division, the boxing version of that, and as a result, right, it was great to see them come out with a win even after years of winning and winning and winning, and then producing some of the best fights we've had in some of our fight parties and watch parties over the years, that now they ended the latter stages of their career with, let's say, a loss, right? Only for them to come back into the world of boxing and you know, and get wins on a different lane, right? It's beautiful to see nonetheless.
I almost was done before the fight ended. I was like, I'm dead. I'm done watching this. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm done watching this. I can't believe what I just watched. I can't believe this. I really, guys, I mean, now you guys got to leave me some comments and let me know your thoughts on this crap. I mean, am I over-exaggerating here? Did I just watch a guy get paid $90 million to just survive? He just survived. Like,
Do you know how many guys that are in high-profile fights that do exactly just that?
He just ran around the ring and he just fought to somebody. He didn't fight. I use the word fight. It would be so loosely right now. He literally just ran around the ring. Ran around the ring. And that's it. Joshua tried, and I know people around me were starting to say, "Oh, this is a work." Again, I was starting to hear that crap, and I was getting aggravated because I could see it's not a work. AJ was throwing hard punches early on, whenever he could get in minimal range.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna have to agree with Paulie on that. Right, this was not a work at all, and the reason why a lot of people are saying that is because they just can't believe that Jake Paul is at this level. Look, let me explain something to you guys. Boxing is very simple. There's no magic in this. You go in there, you put in the work, and then you put in the work, you get better, okay? And then you get better, you win fights, you move up the competition, and then you get better. And then you get better and better as time goes on, and then at some point you hit a ceiling. Now, is this Jake Paul's ceiling? Not so much, okay? Because this was a very unusual fight. This was right up there with, let's say, Triple G taking on Kell Brooks, right? Very big weight discrepancy, the type of fight, like, let's say, Amir Khan and Canelo Alvarez got into, like that, right? Aki Joda says Conor fought Floyd 10 hard and still paid $96 million. I don't know about 96. Is that a confirmed number? I mean, I know it was in the hundreds, but 96, okay, that's quite a random number. And then Jake Paul got paid 93 for 6 rounds. Yeah, they say 70 million, and then they say 93, so I don't know, maybe the other 20 million goes with the taxes or something like that, but yeah.
Because this guy was running for his life like a roadrunner. So, but you could see when AJ would get into range, he would throw hard punches. He was missing early on. This guy was like a roadrunner all over the place. And once Jake finally started slowing down, because you can't run around like that. Like, he's just running around, just running and running. He doesn't know how to calm down. And it's like, okay, finally started going down. He started getting knocked down. And then the fight, sure enough, eventually ends. I don't even know what round it ended, 5 or 6. It was almost unwatchable. It was actually almost so unwatchable that I almost stopped watching. I almost just...
Listen, that's straight cap. You can't say that it was almost unwatchable. Look, here's the thing, right? When you watch, like, just your normal boxing events on a Wednesday night, right? There's a lot of things that are going on in there. Maybe you're not paying attention as much, but those fights are as dire consequences than that of, let's say, the main event fights. This one had a lot at stake. You were invested in it. So the fact that you are invested in it, every punch mattered, every counter mattered, every single exchange mattered, right? Because you were locked in out of curiosity. How is Jake Paul going to do against this monster? Fresh Melon Juice, welcome, my man. He says, if Jake knew his conditioning was bad, he should go for broke early, knowing stopping was inevitable. Well, it seems that you are in the camp of Paulie Malignaggi on this one. And, you know, respectfully, my man, I don't agree with that, right? I believe that you should constantly defend yourself while you are in there. Look, I look at fighting as no different than gunfighting, okay? I'm not going to put myself in a position, you can call me a camper, like what they call other Call of Duty players that use elaborate strategies to try and, win, Call of Duty games. You could call me all of that. But by the end of the day, I'm going to win any means necessary. And if that means using the technique and the defensive mechanism that I know to deal with a super heavyweight in Anthony Joshua, and that's just what it is. Gordo Tex, a shout out to you, my man. I'm assuming you are from Texas. Let me know if that is the part of the world you are from. He says, shoot, Jake Paul can box. He's no AJ, obviously, and I don't even like Jake Paul. Well, thank you for that, Gordo, that comment, because that is a very reasonable comment. Look, what I said during the broadcast, right, during the live stream, I said Jake Paul needs to fight someone what's the guy's name? Vidal Riley, right? And obviously everybody in the chat was saying, you know what, I don't think Vidal Riley would be a good matchup for Jake. Well, let's see. Vidal Riley is not Anthony Joshua. Vidal Riley is literally the same size as Jake Paul, and they would be perfect for each other. Gordo says, yes, sir. Okay, so shout out to you. Let me know what part of Texas you are from. Aki Jodo says, I would say from what I saw, the recent fight, maybe Mike Tyson fight may be real, that Jake Paul beat him. Yeah, that was an exhibition. So that right there what it was, right? They're just not going to fight each other in that kind of way. Aki Jodo says Tommy Fury. Yeah, man. I tell you what, even though Tommy Fury has a win over Jake Paul, you're not going to see Tommy Fury go in there and spar Anthony Joshua. I'm sorry, fight Anthony Joshua, let alone spar him. I know he fights and spars with his brother, and obviously that doesn't end too well for him in those sessions.
Left. I cannot believe. I cannot believe that. Did that just happen? Did that just happen? I mean, for AJ, you can't criticize AJ because he was trying to get him out of here. This is a stand-up fight. You know what I mean? You can't just grab the guy and hold him there. And like I said, Jake was being sly with the time killing. Every time he was in a clinch, he would just go down, and he would try to push Joshua down and trip him down. And he would just go down, and that kills time. And you notice the timekeeper also wasn't stopping the clock. It wasn't until the end of the timekeeper started stopping the clock for all those triple.
I agree, Fresh. He says it was a worse position when he's tired, teeped against the ropes with his hands down. Okay. Yeah. That's ultimately what got AJ the jab and then the cross to follow up to end him right there.
That was also killing time and so on and so forth. So I don't know, man. And it's really something mind-boggling that just happened. I mean, forget about what you could do for boxing if Netflix spent what they make, 90 million each, whatever. They say they make 50 million each. If you spent 100 million on boxing, you know what? You could completely resurrect boxing. You know the kind of fights you can make with $100 million in boxing. You know the kind of traction boxing would have if you spent $100 million on boxing. And then
yeah, but here's the problem with what Paulie Malignaggi is talking about, though. Are these people worthy enough for other people to get out of their way on a Saturday night to watch them fight? And the answer is no. There's not a lot of guys out there that many people want to watch fight. Anthony Joshua, he's one of them with a brilliant marketing strategy of Matchroom Boxing and Matchroom Sports and Eddie Hearn getting them up there. Jake Paul is no different than that. So that's what we got. There's a reason why the Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua fight is a big fight, even though they are a mismatch, right? Jake Paul is an entity. So is Anthony Joshua. They are a meticulously marketed product, okay? Meticulously marketed product. Starting from the days of Jake's Disney, and then starting from the days of Anthony Joshua's Team GB, where if you are an Olympic team, you kind of learn how to be a professional athlete. They teach you how to be media trained. They teach you how to, present yourself. And then even more so when he went into Matchroom Sports. So that is what you have. You have a formidable marketing machine in Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, and now they're coming together to make this money. So everything that Paulie is talking about, the $100 million and this and that, this is what they spent it on because this is what people are willing to watch. Look, they are not willing to watch Zordo Ramirez versus Bivol. Just because you, as a hardcore fan, you want to see that and you think that it's worth a lot of money, there's a lot of casuals out there and a lot of TV executives that don't seem to think so. Gordo Tech says, I think I read something about Tyson wanting another rematch. Not sure how much that is true. If that's the case, I haven't heard Mike Tyson make comments about this fight yet, but if that is what he said, you know what it is, man. Mike Tyson is just saying that out of banter, out of a joke, right? I think what he was saying by saying that, he was probably thinking, man, you know what? Anthony Joshua, yeah, he knocked him out like that. I could probably knock him out worse. You know what I mean? If I was ready, or you know how it is, right? Fighters always think that they can do more than their previous performance or what they can actually do. It's a fighter's mentality. They're always going to think that they are better than what their actual performance is, right? He says, brother, that title is not true. Jake Paul is not retired. Well, I tell you what. I think he is going to retire, right? There have been talks about him retiring, and I think that he's going to cash out on this one. By the very least, we're talking about maybe 1 or 2 fights left, if none at all. Look, Terrence Crawford has mentioned that, you know what, I'm done after this, right? And we didn't never really listen. Same thing with John Jones. We never really listened when he said that he retired. He says, Jake is not retired, Tate is retired. That I actually don't believe. I think Andrew Tate is going to have a fight again, but I think with an easier guy, right? Maybe someone like Joe Fontana, or I don't know what his name is. But yeah, Aki Khan says, these last two Netflix fights have made him as much money as the top athletes, if not more. Yup. So money was never really the issue with Jake Paul in the first place, right? He was already rich, so I don't think a single payday is just going to deter him from another fight. He says, and he has his own promotion. Well, there you go, right? As I mentioned, that is the natural transition that Jake Paul is going to take going into his career, going into his retirement post-fighting career. So,
and made the best would fight the best easily. Instead, you just spent probably more than $100 million. But as Netflix, you spent $100 million on this crap, dude. I can't believe what I just watched. And again, guys, I'm not mad at AJ. Like some of you might gonna get mad at AJ for taking part in this. AJ looked to get him out of there right away. He tried to get him out of there as quick as he could. But AJ's never had fast feet. Even in his prime, AJ never had fast feet. But of course, heavyweights don't run for their life like that. They'll fight you and they'll go out. You know what I mean? Like, so AJ never had to chase a guy like this the whole time in his career. And you could already know AJ was a little bit cumbersome on his feet. He's a big, muscle-bound guy. So when this guy started running for his life, and I'm watching, I'm like, and it goes 1 round, 2 rounds, and AJ barely touched him in 1 and 2 rounds. I'm like, don't tell me this is what we're gonna watch tonight. Don't even tell me this is what we're gonna watch tonight. Is this guy ever gonna try to win the fight? Like, please don't tell me this is what we're gonna watch tonight. That's it. That's what we watched tonight. We watched that until Jake Paul got tired.
I mean, I told you guys that going into it, that's exactly what Jake Paul is going to do, because it's a natural thing that you're going to do against the big guy in front of you like that. He says Andrew Tate aura got damaged unimaginably. Okay. I'm going to finish off with Paulie Malignaggi, and then we're going to go into Andrew Tate, okay? Because I have some comments that I want to make about that, and I think that it is important to hear this one out, so.
We watched that until Jake Paul got tired. I'm freaking mind blown. I don't even. You just gotta let me know in the comments, bro. Like, am I being too hard on everything? I know most of my fans are like hardcore fans on my page, so you're probably gonna be harder on them than me. But honestly, I'm not mad at AJ. Anybody's gonna do it for the money, and AJ was trying to get him out of there. But I did say before the fight, the longer this lasts, the more it'll debilitate into a farce. AJ's gonna try to get him out of there quick. But I thought it would be quicker, not because AJ did anything wrong, in my opinion. He did what he could do. AJ is what he is, Especially he's past his prime too. But I expected a bit more engaging from Jake. I expected Jake to try to get at least some respect, and he didn't. He didn't try to get any respect from the boxing fans at all. He literally tried to waste everybody's time. I can't freaking believe that he did. I thought, a piece of me was thinking Jake's gonna try to get the respect of the boxing fans. He took this guy on, and it's an unwinnable fight. He's gonna go out in a blaze of glory. I'm telling.
Yeah, but for somebody like Paulie to say that, it's a dumb comment to make, right? Go out of your shield, or this, that, and the other. I mean, this is coming from a guy who doesn't even fight like that, right? He would fight Anthony Joshua in the same similar fashion, but Paulie Malignaggi and Anthony Joshua fighting would be unimaginable in and of itself, right? Yeah, that's not something that would happen, off a fly. And at least Jake Paul had a little bit of size in him to do so, right? Jake Paul is sort of at that size where he can fight literally anybody. He can fight Tank Davis. He could fight Ilia Topuria if he wanted, but at the same time, he could also fight Dylan White, right? So Fresh Melon Juice says, Dave Chappelle saying MLK was bigger than Kurt, that Kirk was just an internet guy is silly. MLK was peanuts compared to Kirk. You know what? That's an interesting subject right there, right? It kind of goes into what we're talking about here with new media versus old media, right? Jake Paul is the quintessential example of the new media, whereas somebody like Pierce Morgan or Tucker Carlson, Anderson Cooper, all of these guys, they are the pure definition of old media, right? So MLK was a historical figure for his time where they sort of relied on mainstream media to do what they needed to do, But at the same time, yeah, man, he says, yeah, dude, this is a cool stream. I'll catch you next time. Thank you, my man. Uh, um, I do, yes. Brother, if you mind asking, yes, I do, but I'm not gonna get into that. But yes, that is a fact, Ali Khan. So
I'm telling you, it's easier to make that choice. It's over in less than 3 minutes. If you make that choice, and you'll get so much more respect. And it's over in less than 3 minutes. Instead, you drag this out for 6 unwatchable rounds, running for your life. What does that do? What does that do for?
you know what? That may be a good point, Fresh. Right? MLK spoke to a minority of black people, very small group. Kirk spoke to America, all of them, all colors. Well, here's one, right? Why is MLK a whole lot more celebrated than Malcolm X? Right? That's another question I want to ask regarding that subject. But yes, I think you're right about that, right? Yeah, Charlie Kirk does have more of a diverse fan base. I think that's fair to say. And he is, yeah, he lives in the internet era where you do get a lot more visibility based on what? I mean, you know, what is Charlie Kirk anyway, right? He's an internet guy, right? But he's a very prominent internet guy that literally helped somebody get into office from a demographics of young people.
Any kind of credibility. What does that do for any kind of credibility? It's that now, you know, I like Jake as a person. If I've met him, if you would meet him, you will like him too. Like I was hoping he would at least have, you know, give himself a little bit of credibility to where I don't have to fight, you know. Again, I got no criticism for AJ. Some of you might have criticism for AJ. I have no criticism for AJ, but any of you would do it for $90 million or $60 million or whatever he got paid. Any of you would do it, and he did it in a way where he's expecting a fight in return. He would have knocked Jake out.
He says Kirk also has a movement that is still alive and growing bigger every day. Yeah, well, we'll see how that lasts, though. Okay, we will see how that lasts. But you're not wrong. I mean, yeah. He says King received a Nobel Peace Prize and was honored in the U.S. national holiday, formal recognition of global historical impact that Charlie Kirk does not have. I agree with that, Ali Khan, but I think what Fresh is saying is sort of true, considering that we live in an internet era, right? I mean, look, let's put it like this on the MMA side of things, right? Who would you trust more in your MMA media, me or Ariel Helwani, right? I think you would go with me, obviously, because you are in this channel. Who would you trust? Now, if it's not me, let's compare MMA Guru to Ariel Helwani. Who would you trust more between MMA Guru or Ariel Helwani? Your answer would be MMA Guru, right? You see what I'm talking about? Like, we live in an era where people who otherwise would not, you know, have the traditional, you know, media connections, you know, are getting a voice out there, right? And that is sort of what Charlie Kirk was, you know, an example of. So, but you're right. The historical significance was just something that, you know, came about as time went on, right? You know, it was just a natural phase for MLK to be put in that category.
Around if Jake would have engaged. You just couldn't. You can't fault AJ for not being quick on his feet. He's never been quick on his feet. Heavyweight, he's a big, cumbersome heavyweight, but he's world class. But in order to show that in a split second, in a round or two, you're gonna need you to engage. This guy never engaged. This guy just tried to survive. Oh my goodness. All right, that's it. I mean, I'm done complaining. What am I gonna do? You know, this was it. You know.
All right, so that's Paulie on that one. All right. So let's get to Andrew Tate right now, right? And this is what I want to say about Andrew. This is what I'm going to say about Andrew Tate, right? A lot of people are saying that he lost a lot of his aura, okay, in this, right? To what extent? Let me explain something to you guys, right? Andrew Tate calls himself the top G, right? Now, does being a top G have to do anything with your fighting career or losing a fight or this, that, and the other? The answer is no. None of those things are correlated. It doesn't have to, you know, mean that you have to win every fight. What exactly is a gangster? Somebody that stands 10 toes down, somebody that doesn't snitch. But on a higher scale than that, what is a top G? Basically, somebody who is a gang leader. Let's just really call it what it is without really being politically correct about it. Calling yourself a top G means you are a gang leader. You are the leader of your crew. You are the leader that makes the money for everyone, and you are the leader that is a mover and a shaker among your clique. Is Andrew Tate that? Yes. Now, does being a gangster have to mean that you have to win every fight? No. But does being a gangster mean that you answer every fight without any fear of consequences or outcomes? I think he did exactly that. So the idea that Andrew Tate lost aura, I disagree with that. I think that he lost aura in terms of being a fighter. But you will never take the aura away from him because he's already built it. Similar to Conor McGregor, he could go on a 10-fight losing streak right now, starting from the White House against Michael Chandler, and then back down to Paddy Pimblett as, exploiting Conor McGregor for a one last hoorah. And it doesn't change who Conor McGregor is. Same thing with BJ Penn, going on this insane losing streak. By the way, BJ Penn is hospitalized right now. I believe he got into a car accident, to no one's surprise. So, Fresh says, Tate clearly didn't walk the walk. The way he fights doesn't reflect what he was portrayed. He didn't do bad in the first couple of rounds. You got to remember, guys, Andrew Tate has mentioned that he is not a boxer. He is a kickboxer. Kickboxers are not the best boxers. And you're going to see that when Anthony Joshua takes on Rico Verhoeven. By the way, before he takes on Tyson Fury, which, by the way, is also, a focal point of this entire stream that we're going to do and that we're going to talk about right before that, he's going to fight Rico Verhoeven, right? So how awesome is that of Anthony Joshua, right? Anthony Joshua has an awesome resume, coming to think of it, right? He fought all the circus fights. And what I mean by circus fights, you can add Jake Paul, Francis Ngannou, and now you can add the kickboxer Rico Verhoeven into it. So he beat a UFC champion, he beat a YouTube champion, and now he's going to beat a kickboxing champion in the boxing world while beating other boxing champions in the boxing world. I mean, that is an impressive resume of people that he's fought, if you really think about it. Yeah. So going back to Andrew Tate, right? He says Tate clearly didn't walk the walk. The way that he fights, it doesn't reflect what he has portrayed. I'm going to mark that comment right there, Fresh, because that's an important comment right there regarding this particular topic right now. So like I said, there's a lot of things that he needs to work on. He's never fought in a boxing ring, right? Chase DeMoore, even though he looks terrible, right? Even with those highlights prior to him winning the Misfits championship, yeah, he looked horrible, but it showed even more in the Andrew Tate fight because there was a lot at stake, and I think that this is just one of those first-time jitters for Andrew Tate, and also a first-time jitter for Chase DeMoore in a high-profile fight, right? A very high-profile fight. Even though he is, a well-known TV personality, and what followed him to the ring was following the people that are watching him and trying to see how he does and how he's going to perform, but not at the magnitude of fighting the top G. So I found this video, Andrew Tate fight What You Don't Know by The Dura. So be sure to give this man a subscription right here. I'm going to do it right now. Shout outs to you. And let's hear what you got to talk about with what we don't know about the Andrew Tate fight. Look at this dude. Probably one of those bodybuilding type of dudes. But yeah, shout outs to him nonetheless. Oops. Let's see.
It's really mean, though. I mean, So it finally happened. Andrew Tate got his ass kicked. So what does this really mean, though? I mean, the internet is like 90% of the people are...
I mean, look, notice how people are so happy. Oh, he got his ass kicked. Like, they're so happy about this. But I understand why. I mean, look, let's be honest, right? Andrew Tate kind of brought it upon himself. If you are this kind of guy, just remember a lot of people are going to use it against you, and I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? If I mean, look, I'm not going to say that I'm not the same way, but I don't know if people would cheer the way that they do for the loss of Andrew Tate, right? I mean, with me, it's normal, right? I mean, there's people that hate me, there's people that love me, which is normal, but Andrew Tate invokes a certain type of hatred from people for multitudes of reasons, right? And some of those we are not going to get into because it's not a red pill conversation that we're having right now, but more of a boxing situation. So,
are fucking happy finally that they got to see one of the most.
He says, I think Tate handicapped his opponent thinking he would smoke him. I think Tate handicapped his opponent. Handicapped in what way? Was there a rehydration clause from what I heard? Let me know in the comment section below if you heard something like that.
Disliked people and characters getting an ass whooping on the internet and on live television. Is there some kind of novelty to that? I mean, does he get any credit for actually stepping into the ring? Who was really the guy?
Yes, let me answer that question before this video continues on, and would probably get into a bashing mode, or maybe not. But I will say yes, every fighting man deserves credit, because let's be honest about this. A lot of you out there who are criticizing Andrew Tate, a lot of you have never been in a fight, never been in a sanctioned fight, never been in a street fight, never been in any type of conflict in your life. In fact, most of you live lives like yes men. A lot of you get told what to do, and in ways where you don't even fight back. Right? You get told what to do at work, you get told what to do at home, and then you don't fight back in any kind of capacity whatsoever, because a lot of you choose the path of least resistance on a daily basis. And I know this. Let me put the camera on me real quick. Okay? I know this, okay, from a person like myself who has done a lot of hard, strenuous things in my life. That would include, training long, extensive hours and this and that, right? As somebody who understands all those long training, hard sessions, a lot of you would never do that. A lot of you would never do the type of training sessions that I do on my live stream. A lot of you would never do the type of training sessions that just the normal average fighter that's starting out would do. None of you would do that, because why? You would choose the path of least resistance. The minute you wake up, what is the first thing a lot of you do? You reach for comfort. You reach for coffee. There's nothing wrong with that. I reach for coffee in the morning, but I use that to either fuel me to do a live stream or to go out there and do, a heavy workout or something in between, right? He says, I think Tate handicapped his opponent thinking he would smoke him. He says, if you behave like Tate, Connor, and Topuria, a lot of people will be loud when they lose. That is true. I'm going to mark that comment right there, right? Very important comment right there. If you behave like Tate, Connor, and Topuria, a lot of people will be loud when you lose. Is Topuria loud? Would you say that he's loud? Or, I don't know. I mean, explain if, give me some examples of, I mean, I guess, maybe emulating Conor McGregor is sort of right up there, but I don't know if that is, I don't know if I would classify Homeboy in that category, but nonetheless. All right, let's get back to Andrew Tate on this one.
That he fought, and was he actually pretty good? Where Andrew kind of deserves a bit of a salute at 40 years old, going into the ring and fighting this guy. And especially with Andrew's speech, where he says it's important that you don't give up, and that losing is better than not trying at all. But did he?
That is good. I like that. Listen, losing is better than never trying at all. I agree with that, right? I had Topuria is all over the news doing interviews saying he would beat up Arman Islam and Khabib. There you go, man. All right, listen, I had one MMA fight, right? My whole entire life, one MMA fight. And then the rest of them was kickboxing, wrestling, and taekwondo, right? Out of that one MMA fight, I probably took some serious damage, right? Because I got kicked illegally on the ground, and then the fight continued, and then later it got ruled a no contest, right? Now, look, I'm glad that I went through that experience. I'm glad that I went through that walk, and I still have the hand wraps for that Muay Thai fight. There it is, the Nevada State Athletic Commission signing off right there. And look, the old school tap out from back in the days. This was from 2012, right? So yeah, man, you know, out of all the things that I've done in my life, I cherish this, right? Because, you know, you've made that walk, and it's not the type of walk that a lot of people make. So yeah, you know what, regardless of the result, you know, whether it was a win or loss or a no contest or a draw, yeah, man, you know, he says Kyrie Aspinall doctor stoppage, LOL. Yeah, man. I continued fighting, bro. I continued fighting, but then, you know, afterwards, you know, it got ruled a no contest, even though it was originally a TKO. But yeah, he says, what is y'all opinion on Toporia's situation? Do you think, no, you know what? Here's the thing, right? It would not be impossible if that was the case, right? I'm not saying that Georgina is lying in any kind of way. In fact, she could be telling the truth. Here's the thing, right? Like, all of these things are possible. Okay, now Chris Brown. A lot of people really gave Chris Brown a lot of flack after the whole Rihanna thing, right? But does anybody ever realize that maybe Rihanna was the problem, right? Maybe Rihanna was the problem. Provocation is something that is real. Okay, provocation is a real thing. From what I'm gathering, I think there's look, I look at someone like Georgina and I'm thinking this person is a provocateur. You know, I'm like, man, I know already you're toxic, you know what I mean? And this and that, you know what I mean? You just like to fight, you like to create chaos and this and that because you got some, you know, underlining issues that, you know, you're not fixing. So Ali Khan says, if anything, I think there is some cheating involved on his end. Okay, and yeah, that is true. I think, yeah, you know what? So that's why these things are very complicated, right? It's easy for a lot of people to say, well, you know what? We believe Ilya Topora because Ilya Topora is the famous one. He's the well-known one. He's the one that has the platform. Whereas with Georgina, we just look at her and stereotype her as what the Nelk boys would stereotype as, you know, not wife material, especially if you met them in Miami, right? But on any regard, crazy that you mentioned that, considering that this fight that we're talking about took place in Miami. Jack Sparrow says, bro, I'm depressed. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I am sorry to hear that. I hope you are okay. Yeah, he says infidelity on his end. Jack Y, he says, Jack Sparrow says, I am 20. I have wasted the last 5 years doing nothing, lied about my marks test, and I have real tests in 4 months. It's a tough exam that requires at least 1 year preparation. I don't have any way out. I'm sorry to hear that, man. All I can do is pray for you and hope that you are okay. At the same time, though, Jack Sparrow, I'm going to give you some real red pill game right now, right? Listen, bro. Stop getting on the internet telling people your problems. I'm telling you right now, this is not the place for you to spew your problems. And look, listen, I don't know you from a can of paint. You could just be lying just based on trying to garner attention. And if that's the case, you know, you need to shape up. Also, shape up, my man. Don't do this on the internet. I got a homeboy of mine in New Jersey, right? Real gangster-ass dude, right? You know, he's like a 5-star brim blood, right? East Coast blood, not West Coast, but, you know, the brother is just constantly complaining about all the things that he is going through in his life, talks about the fact, I mean, look, it's kind of courageous if you think about it, right? The dude lives in his car, doesn't mind talking about that he lives in his car, doesn't mind that this and that or the other. Jumpman says, you need to shape up. Brother, I'm in better shape than you. Have you ever seen any of my live stream workouts? Like, you would die if you did some of the workouts that I did. Aki Khan says, yeah, 20 is young. People graduated high school sometime around 18, 19. Yes. He says, but I don't think Sean Connery was talking about beating them up like Rihanna. Okay, yeah, Sean Connery is a controversial figure in and of itself, right? You know, but that was from a different time in a different era where they just were not, you know, into that whole feminist bullshit. But yeah, he says, I studied from my professional school exam in a few months. If I can do it, you can. Okay, that's very good. Ali Khan says, you are also wasting your time with watching YouTube when you should be studying. Yes. He says, you need to donate some McDonald's points to the poor. Why McDonald's specifically, right? I mean, what if I don't trust their, what if I don't trust their, what do you call it? Their donations, right? What if it doesn't go to the right place, right? But you should always be skeptical of all donation and charity places at all times, right? Sometimes for all you know, you could be funding terrorism. You know what I mean? So it's something you should watch out for. He says, hey, bro, can you finish the story about the buddy who lives in your car? Okay, so yeah, this is why you should never put it out on the internet. He constantly puts things out in the internet. Angst MMA, shout out to you, my man. You know, he constantly puts things out in the internet, and the way that he sees it, and what I told him, I said, listen, you need to stop doing that because you're making me look bad. You know, if you guys understand anything about the streets or understand street culture, who you're with, okay, is a reflection about how strong or how weak you are. And I'm not about to have some dude that I run with, you know, looking weak, talking about his relationships or talking about his baby mamas or this and that, or how he lives in his car, you know, online or this and that and the other, right? The way that he sort of rebutted me, he says, well, it's kind of like Eminem, right? You know, what is it that you had to say to Eminem after he said that, oh, I live in a trailer park, I had this going on with me, my girl this and that and the other, you know, oh, I have a friend named Cheddar Bob who shot his such and such, right? You know, that's his whole motto was like, you know, what can you say to me after saying all of these things that, you know, needs to already be said? But at the same time, I have a different outlook on that. I think that it makes you look weak. And quite frankly, a lot of people put solace in this idea that, oh, you know, you're a strong person if you go out there and share your problems to the world. No, people are going to use these problems to exploit you. So that is why you should honestly suffer in silence, my man. That's my best advice to you. Suffer in silence and stop telling people on the internet what your problems are, because ultimately, look, this is going to be a harsh reality. The reality is that nobody cares. Nobody cares about your problems, okay? No one cares. But by the end of the day, you can make it better for yourself. Just like Andrew Tate and Jake Paul right now. They got problems going on right now with injuries and then having their egos broken. But by the end of the day, they mitigate it through the accomplishments of what they have going on. So they got nothing to be depressed about. That's what you need to look at. You need to look at the positive side of your life, okay? And not go on the internet and spew your own problems because, quite frankly, I'm sorry to tell you, no one cares. I only care at this point right now because you're bringing it up in my chat, and it's a focal point of entertainment for this live stream. So thank you very much, but I hope you do take my advice and take that to heart.
Really try.
Now back to Andrew Tate. He says, fresh melon juice, Jack Sparrow, go to church and talk to them. There you go, right? Or go to the mosque. Come to the mosque and become a Muslim and join us.
Did he really try? Let's find out.
Okay, so from what I understand, this channel, Dura, I think he is an Arab bodybuilder from what it sounds like. Okay, Dura sounds like, you know, what do you call it? An Arabic name. You know what Dura means in Arabic, right? Dura means in Arabic somebody that is a very negative person. The Dura. So that is the name of his channel. Is he trying to say that I am a negative person? But all right. You know, so the Arabic language is an ocean. Dura could totally mean something and have a different context to it. But as far as I know, Dura means somebody who's a very negative person. He says, Brother Andrew Tate is not a productive conversation. Well, yeah, I mean, it is for this time around, right? He won't be a productive conversation next week, but for now, as he's a productive conversation, we will, you know, ride that till the wheels fall off. Ali Khan says, but he is still doing all the haram things and claiming Islam. True, true. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. As a matter of fact, okay, let's get to that right now before we get to the rest, right? He says, give me a harsh advice a big brother would give, or suggest what you would do if you were in my situation. Yeah, that's what I would do, man, is exactly what I just told you, right? Don't go on the internet telling people your problems because you will be exploited. Like right now, you're being exploited right now through through the form of me creating entertainment for the world. Right? Like, do you really want to do that? Like, bro, I'm nobody's entertainment, bro. I ain't about to be anybody's entertainment based on, you know, what problems I have going on in life or this and that. We all got problems, but by the end of the day, deal with it, because you know what? You have a situation. We all have situations, and we got to deal with it accordingly. He says, Mosh, Fatty Mosh says, will you become hogish one day? Will you become huge one day is what you're asking me. Inshallah. The one way to do that is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Help me become the biggest streamer in the world, because I guarantee you, if you guys put me up there in that platform, I'm going to beef with every single one of the MMA content creators that you guys don't like, and I'm going to make pure entertainment out of it. I'm going to make their lives a living hell, just like how I've made a living hell out of people that I beefed with in the streets. I'm going to do the same thing in the internet world, and I'm going to, yeah, man, I'm going to bring terror upon them, you know, as much as I could. And I'm going to do it in the value of entertainment. So, hokage. He says, will you become hokage one day? I don't know what that means, so you're going to have to explain that to me. So, Ali Khan says, brother, I would like to try to set something up with MMA Guru, like a debate or something. Well, what exactly would me and MMA Guru debate about exactly, right? That will get you exposure, or MMA Joey. Yeah, he says, the Hidden Leaf Village needs you. The Hidden Leaf Village needs you. Okay, I don't know what cryptic language you're on about, but yeah, okay. All right, shout outs to Dura.
Oh, I had a heart attack. Get the fuck up. What's wrong with you? Go hospital later. Have a drink. Cigarette. Cup of coffee. Back.
The picture behind me, that is the ocean, the Pacific Ocean here in California, and parts of New York City. And then on top, that is Venice Beach. I'm sorry, Venice in Italy. Specifically that one, that's Venice in Italy. That's, yeah, so just so you know, okay. Ali Khan says, prospects of UFC, hidden agenda, UFC, upcoming fights in 2006, etc. So,
I can tell you. Fucking having heart attacks near me.
All right, guys, so welcome to today's episode. All right, so Andrew Tate, 40 years old, making a comeback into the ring. Now, I relate to that a lot because I made a comeback into bodybuilding, also at the age of 40, but I won a pro show. So Andrew Tate makes a comeback, gets an ass whooping. This guy gets his. Look at that face. This guy has gotten his ass kicked the way he should have had his ass kicked when he was a child by his daddy. That probably did happen as well, but
who's to say that didn't happen? And then on top of that, like, people have this attitude where, you know what, if you talk smack, you know, like, you somehow deserve to get your ass kicked. Here's the thing, right? If you didn't train for a fight, or you didn't train properly, or if it wasn't the right matchup, that's the only place where I would say you deserve to have your ass kicked. Otherwise, listen, if Andrew Tate didn't talk the way that he did, this fight would not even have the type of attention that it got. And then the arena didn't really look all that prominent in the first place. But all right, let's go back to this.
I guess he lost touch with reality, and reality fucking hit him like a bus. Now, I am not, by the way, just for the record, I am not an Andrew Tate hater, nor am I a fan. I do respect his mentality.
Yeah, okay, Mosh, I don't know what you're talking about, my man.
I respect the fact that he was able to trick the entire Muslim world into making them believe that he's a Muslim, and then getting all these nice deals and money from all the sheikhs in Emirates and Saudi Arabia and whatever. And then I love how his brother, like, you know, he's a Muslim, but his brother is Christian, so they can get the best of both worlds. But at the end, they're really actually both atheists, and no one really knows that, or no one has the IQ to figure that out, or the majority don't have. But yeah, I mean, I do really respect his craftsman.
Wow, so he said Andrew Tate is actually an atheist, right? Look, I don't know if I want to buy that straight away, right? You know, the Prophet Muhammad had this situation with one of the companions by the name of Osama ibn Zayed, right? Weirdly enough, his name was Osama ibn Zayed, right? So Osama ibn Zayed, at his time, cut up a man in half during a battlefield, right? During a fight between the Muslims and the pagan Meccans, right? This pagan Meccan was begging Osama, saying to him, listen, I am a Muslim, do not kill me. What does Osama bin Zayed end up doing? He ends up killing him anyway. So the Prophet Muhammad asked Osama bin Zayed, did you look into that man's heart? He says, no. Well, how do you know? All right, so he condemned him for killing that man. So once again, this is why I'm very careful about attacking Tate's Islam, right? Now, we can judge by what is the apparent, and what the apparent is, yes, he does sort of live a lifestyle that is not conducive to an Islamic lifestyle, even though he praises the reality and the rule sets that we have. But at the same time, he's not fully living it in that kind of way. So, interesting take on his brother. He's saying that he thinks Andrew Tate is an atheist. He's not a real Muslim, but I don't know if I buy that. He says, Shikamura will come up with a game plan. Yeah, I don't know who these people are, man. You're talking in a completely different language that I know nothing about, so.
In being able to get away with all that. I do genuinely respect that. Like, good for you, man. You were able to finally, you're able to crack the code. Religion. Perfect. But who is the fighter? Who is this guy that Andrew Tate fought? So Andrew Tate, mind you, let's hear the interview and Andrew Tate, how he calls him, he's the champ, right? So let's watch the interview.
I don't want to detriment his win in any regard. He won.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you give full respect and credit, no excuses, full credit to Chase them all.
Yeah, absolutely full credit to Chase them all, legitimate champion, no excuses.
What's next for you?
Well, I've got money to count. I'm 40 years old, I'm 10 years out the ring. I'd spend a little bit of time in jail and locked in my house. I have a lot going on, but it's okay to lose, but it's not okay to not try. And he's younger than me, he's 20 kilo bigger than me, he's more active than me. I didn't fight I fought the champ, so.
So as you can see, Andrew Tate calls him the champ. He is the champ, right? Let's take...
To what standard is he the champ? He's a champ of that organization, but, is Chase Damore really a champ? I mean, that is a hilarious take to make about Chase Damore, but nonetheless, I mean, yeah, Chase Damore is a champion to a certain degree, but not a champion at the highest level of boxing. If we can really make that the rightful differentiation on that. So, all right.
Look at the champ fighting.
Yeah, this was an old footage of him, right? Just really swinging away. And that Buckner guy, he's an MMA fighter also. He got knocked out. This dude that Chase is fighting, he got knocked out by Salt Poppy, from what I remember.
I don't know about you. I am a huge boxing fan. I am more of a boxing fan than I am of a bodybuilding fan. So my two hobbies are racing. You got the the simulator behind me, and the second is boxing. I don't even watch bodybuilding. And the last fight I watched was obviously the Crawford.
Okay, fair enough. He doesn't watch bodybuilding, right? I mean, listen, even for a bodybuilder to watch bodybuilding, it's G-A-Y.
The Canelo fight. The Jake Paul and Anthony fight, I stopped after the third round because I knew it was rigged. I've seen Anthony's fights. He doesn't fight like that. At least it was rigged for the first 5 rounds. But anyway, that's going to be another video. So I know boxing.
Yeah, look, Mosh, I'm just going to ignore what you're saying. I'm not even going to read what you're saying until you say something a lot more intelligent. Sorry.
And this guy does not know how to fucking box. I don't know where Andrew Tate found this guy. Have you seen?
Well, he didn't really find him anywhere, right? Andrew Tate became the CEO of Misfits, and then he just happened to be a Misfits champion. So Andrew Tate was like, all right, that's the next natural course of action. Let's just go fight him, right? So that's really all there is to it, right? Like, yeah, he says, so it's unintelligible because you don't know what it is. That's a dumb take. Yeah, look, I'm not going to entertain stupidity on your part. I'm sorry, bro. I'm just not going to do it. So, I don't know what you're talking about, and quite frankly, I don't really care. All right. He says, can't even read my comment correctly. Yeah, look, I'm not going to read incoherent, BS that has no, proper English behind it. So, all right, here we go.
Those skills, bro? Bro, my son is 14 and boxes better than that. 14 and boxes better than that. But then again, my son's trained with the Grant brothers, so they're pretty good. They were the welterweight champion, I think. But yeah, I mean, this guy does not know how to fucking fight. And Andrew Tate picked him, and I guess he thought that this was going to be kind of like an easy win. But Andrew Tate was even worse than he was. Now, I understand the notion that it's important to not give up. He has millions and millions of dollars. And there's no need for him to fight, but he still stepped into the ring. So there's some kind of novelty to that, right? The notion of it's better to not give up than to try. But did he really try? What is trying? Stepping into the ring, hoping you are going to get away with a win and beat someone up based on experience that you had over a decade ago is not trying. I didn't step on stage in my comeback with, eating the way I was eating the years prior and not doing.
Look, I disagree with him. It is trying, right? It's obviously not Andrew's best, but, by the end of the day, it is still trying, and you can't deny Andrew of him trying, right? I mean, that's a ridiculous notion to even say, but all right, let's hear what more of what Dara has to say here.
Cardio and whatever. I had to double down. I had to double my work ethic, which is what you would expect from a fighter coming back. But is that what really happened? No, it wasn't. Because take a look at Andrew fucking gassing out in between rounds. This guy can barely breathe. Smoking cigars is not part of training. You can't be a fighter while smoking like a chimney every fucking day with your dumbass cigars.
We don't know how often he smokes cigars, right? He obviously does it for the camera, but we don't know if he's just doing that out of bravado or if there's, some real, forms of habit behind it.
While drinking whiskey and hanging around women 24/7, okay? That's not how it works.
He says Tate and Jake didn't give up. That's true. They didn't give up, but it doesn't dismiss the criticism that comes their way as a result of all of these things going on. So,
sure, perfect comeback I don't want to talk about myself again, but would be...
Yeah, that's the thing, Fresh. That is the thing, right? Like, you don't necessarily inhale cigar smoke, right? That's the thing. It's not something that you inhale, in any kind of degree, right? You just kind of and that's it. You don't, like you do with weed or cigarettes. It's more like, instead of, right? Like that's the difference.
An environment where you turn your life into the life of a monk, where you isolate, you disconnect, and you shit, sleep, and eat boxing or whatever sport you're doing. That's trying. Sitting around and sparring a couple of times and hitting the sandbag for an hour, maybe 3-4 times a week is not trying, bro. You can't...
I agree with him, right? I think there is more to boxing and combat sports than just doing combat sports related stuff such as sparring, hitting the bags, right? You also have to do conditioning, right? And by the way, if you want to check out the proper conditioning that you need to do for combat sports, go check out some of my live training sessions that I've done right here, right? Very few people in the MMA space, even in the fitness space, would go in here and do a live stream session with you guys because they don't want to look bad. But to me, I have so much confidence in myself that I know that I'm going to look great and I'm going to entertain people by just, banging out 100-pound, one-arm dumbbells over my head and then box jumping, NBA level type of stuff. So, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, check that out, Ray. That is how you train properly for combat sports on top of the other things that you need to do, such as sparring, hitting the bag, and technique work.
Get into a ring while smoking cigars every day. That doesn't fucking work.
we don't know if that is exactly what Andrew Tate was doing going into this fight, right? We don't know if that is the case, right? We don't know. Like, to say that, okay, you know what, he was just smoking cigarettes the whole entire time. I don't know if that's a reality, but on any regard, yeah.
Your lungs need oxygen when you're in the ring. Breathe air. Dancing around. Breathe air. And the thing is, you weren't even dancing around the way Ali dances around. Like, you weren't really fighting. You were dancing around like a fucking fairy, mate. That's not the ideal comeback. And I gotta say this.
The thing with Andrew Tate, right? He was never a footwork type of guy, right? Look, I think if you're going to fight in your 40s, you need to have footwork. You need to have elusiveness, right? This is what makes you a difficult target. Now, look, old man strength is always going to be there, right? You get stronger and build more muscle as you get older, yes. So power comes into play with that, right? But you also need to have the right footwork, the right elusiveness to get out of there. And Tate had none of that, unfortunately.
I was actually rooting for Andrew Tate. I wanted him to win because I'm a guy's guy. I don't like seeing the main character go down. I genuinely don't. And
there it is. He says that he doesn't like seeing the main character go down. I told you guys this. I remember telling you guys about, you know, the main character syndrome that we put upon our favorite fighters, when a main character syndrome is something that you do internally for yourself, right? We also do that externally for our favorite fighters and our favorite athletes.
I get no...
Shout out to Connor Wiggy. He says, I am Connor. He says, wow, Fresh, want to get into ring since you're so confident. Dang, bro. Okay, we got Connor over here calling out Fresh on the live stream. He says, have you seen the pictures of Jake in the hospital? It's a mess. Yeah, bro. It is. He looks completely horrible, bro. I mean, you know, he really, you know, got a number done on him on that one.
Joy. Because I imagine myself in his shoes. Like, I imagine myself, fuck, this could happen to me as well. Next year, you know, competing again, I can fail again. And then my Middle Eastern fans are going to fucking eat me up. So I don't want to go through that. And I don't want to see another man go through that. So it's kind of disappointing to see that performance. I was hoping that Andrew would come out on top. But again, I mean, yeah, his post-fight speech was motivating. It was, you know, heartfelt. And I agree, you know, trying is better than not trying. So I give him credit for that. And I do respect him for it.
Do you guys notice that instead of giving Chase DeMoore the credit to beating Andrew Tate, do you notice that the shift is a lot more like, you know what, Andrew Tate lost rather than Chase DeMoore winning? And that shows you how much people really hate the dude.
Taking that kind of beating and taking it all the way. So respect for him taking it all the way. He took it all the way. He didn't stop in the middle of the fight. He got back up. And he does get respect for that. But my problem was that he did not try or did not give it his all in training. This is fucking boxing. So you lose a lot of points on that, and you lose a lot of points for choosing that kind of fighter. And it makes it worse that you lost from that kind of fighter. But at the same time, I'm kind of caught in between the emotions of I want to root for him, I want to cheer him, but the fact that he didn't try, he's fucking smoking cigars all the time and drinking and hanging around with women, just kind of makes it hard for... Alright, great, so my battery fucking died on this piece of shit. But it's hard to fucking give my full support knowing he kind of slacked off in training. And luckily enough, we're at the end of the video. So that's my take on the Andrew Tate fight. So let me guys know, what do you...
Alright, so it looks like Andrew Tate... had a speech going on. He first emergency speech, right? He calls all of his live streams emergency. It's an emergency, guys. We got an emergency going on. But all right, let's hear what Andrew Tate had to say about this. By the way, man, shout out to Tony Ferguson and his win as well, right? We're going to get to that. We're going to give some credit to Anderson Silva and Tony Ferguson as well as we continue on. So let's hear what Andrew Tate had to say on this one.
Hello, friends.
nice day today, so we're gonna have a happy time. And there's a whole bunch of lessons that I have learned in these last couple of days, which I would like to.
All right, so there it is. He says that he's had some lessons that he likes to learn from that. Fresh says, you're from the UK. Are you talking to Connor? Yeah, Connor's probably from Ireland.
Help all of you at home by imparting my knowledge on all of you. I think that the best way to learn is from your mistakes, but it's even better to learn from other people's mistakes. So, not that I made any particular mistakes, but I've certainly learned some lessons. And this is going to be a happy emergency meeting. We're going to have a really good time. Before we do that, I don't know who's talking in my house. Who's talking, making that noise? Let me shut that up. Let me, Right. So first thing is Christmas. We have a Christmas tree behind us. Yeah.
By the way, as a Muslim, we don't celebrate Christmas, so this is the criticism that a lot of Muslims have on Andrew Tate. But, yeah, what's up with all of that? Let me know what you think. Do you think Andrew Tate has a right to celebrate Christmas even as a Muslim? Let me know what you think, whether you're a Muslim or non-Muslim. I'd like to hear your comments below on that particular subject.
Please. Christmas is nice. You know, Christmas is a happy time.
Christmas is also a pagan holiday, but okay, and even fundamentalist Christians will agree that is not the true date of Jesus, peace be upon him. But on any regard,
I didn't even put this Christmas tree up, you know? The Pagani, thank you, motor company. Have you heard of them? They make Pagani automobiles. There's not many of them in the world. They cost around $5 million each. I have two. The Pagani company actually came and built me a Pagani Christmas tree and gave me Pagani presents to put underneath it in my Pagani penthouse, which was very nice of them.
why do you as a Muslim accept the Christmas tree? Now, I understand it's a very exclusive company of cars and, by the way, legitimate, luxury cars. Why do you take that type of thing from... I don't understand. Like, you're a Muslim, right? Like, would Khabib accept a Christmas tree from the UFC or any type of company that he's affiliated with? I don't think so.
Very kind. Because I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't have had a Christmas tree. I had other things on my mind. I didn't have a Christmas or a New Year planned. I didn't have anything in my head after this fight. My life ended on December 20th. And now my life has begun again. It's a unique position to be in. People are saying, oh, what about Christmas? I'm like, oh yeah, Christmas. I forgot about Christmas. And
I know what he means, though, aside from all this Christmas talk that he's getting into, right? I know what he means. When you sign up for a fight, right, what happens the day before almost doesn't matter, right? It's almost obsolete out of your mind, right? So just something to think about.
I forgot about New Year. I forgot about everything. I only had one singular focus. I was just worried about this fight. So now I have my life back, which is a unique position to be in. I don't think many of you have ever dedicated yourself to something to the point where you couldn't see beyond it. To dedicate yourself to something so heavily that you literally can't see beyond that date. There is no life beyond that date. And when you wake up the following day, it's like, oh yes, it's a big wide world. And I'm in Dubai and I'm famous and there's restaurants and other things to do besides the fight gym. It's a brand new horizon, which is kind of liberating and kind of exciting. But also, part of me misses the singular focus, to only have one thing to worry about and one thing to do. I think it's quite refreshing. That's why I've always found it confusing when people struggle with motivation. There's nothing more beautiful than having one particular focus on the planet. That's the most beautiful thing in the world. To have a distracted mind and abstracted thoughts, that's not nearly as fulfilling for the soul as waking up with one particular concern.
You see, this is where Andrew Tate is a very captivating speaker, right? This is literally where, okay, Andrew Tate becomes exactly what he is in terms of being this social media superstar, right? This is where he shines the best. Okay, he shines the best in these certain situations. Now, what situations are these we're talking about? The type of situation where he gives you, what do you call it? He gives you, the reality of life in terms of motivation, in terms of understanding what true motivation is, as opposed to people who are just wandering around in an idle state, right? And there's a lot of people out there that are living in an idle state, people that are in lack of focus, that people that are in lack of motivation or purpose. And then here comes Andrew Tate reminding you of that, right? Now, regardless of all the political implications, regardless of all the political, talking points that he makes that you may or may agree with, you may or you may not agree with, this is where he shines the most. So, yeah, let's continue on what he had to say here.
And a date by which that concern gets to be fixed. That's actually the optimum way to live life for your soul and for your heart. To wake up and say, I only have one thing to do, and I'm going to give it my all. And if I do that on this day, I get the reward for that thing. That's a beautiful life. If I were to say to you right now, dedicate yourself for the next 1 year, give it your all, 4 or 5 hours a day, think about nothing else, don't go out, don't go party, don't talk to silly girls, forget about Christmas, forget about your birthday, forget about New Year's, focus only
I think you should forget about Christmas, being that you're a Muslim, but okay.
on this thing for 1 year, and on this date you get the reward. I guarantee you, even...
He says, I think his head shines the most. Are you talking about in reference to the ornaments that are shining behind him, that his head shines brighter than that? Is that what you mean?
More than the reward, even better for you than the actual payoff in the end, will be the process of going through that year. And you're going to think back on it with a fond memory. The best thing about this fight was that I got to spend the last 4 months with only one thing to think about. I got to be with Amir, my coach, every single day. I got to be with Tristan every single day, Luke Barnett every single day. And in the long story, in the extremely long book, which will be my life, this will be a very interesting chapter. The time was going to pass anyway, friends. I didn't have to do this fight camp, you know? I could have just said, no, I'm not doing any fight camps. I'm too old. I've been retired for too long. I'm just going to eat food and drive cars and party, be famous and be rich like every other guy. And
this also applies to Jake Paul as well, right? He didn't have to do this as well. He could have done something else. He could have, just sat out and chilled. And yeah, man, he's absolutely right about that. He didn't need to do none of this, but he did anyway. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, just something to think about there, right? He didn't have to do this, but he did anyway. So
this day would have come anyway, and I wouldn't have the fight camp story. And perhaps the reason most people in that position don't take such big risks is because they're scared of being laughed at.
Facts. That's really what it is. And yeah, the world is laughing at Andrew Tate right now, and he's right about that. He is absolutely right about that. The world is making fun of Andrew Tate because of this, and the reality is, he still went in there and did it.
And that's what we're going to talk about now. We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about being laughed at or people mocking you when you fail at something. That's what today's emergency meeting is about, because I think a lot of you hold back on being who you want to be because you're afraid of people's negative opinion of you.
Wow. Okay, that's so true, man. That is so true. A lot of you have so much talent, right, that you don't go out and pursue it because you got a lot of negative people telling you, oh, well, if you do this, you're going to end up failing. And if you fail, then you're not going to have, this and that and the other. And yeah, man, it's just, a whole bunch of, a whole bunch of crazy stuff that people are going to say to you because they're going to feel better about themselves that you failed, whereas they didn't have to experience that failure because they never tried in the first place. So, yeah.
Let me make something very fucking clear to you from the beginning. If you are worried about other people's opinion of you, they already own you. They already control you. If you are worried about what they are going to say or what they think about you. Even if you need the praise, they own you. If you sit and say, I'm going to try this thing, and I know I'll succeed, and everybody is going to say good things about me. So to make sure that happens, I'm going to cheat, or I'm going to be underhanded. I'm going to do some sneaky shit, because I need these people to say good things about me. They already fucking own you. I don't care if people say good things about me or bad things about me, because those people don't own me, and they don't decide my worth, and they don't get to decide how I live my life because they sit there and write comments. What kind of bitch would I be as a man if I sit at home and think, you know what, maybe I should take this fight? Yes, it's a big risk. Yes, he's younger than me. Yes, he's more active than me. Yes, he's heavier than me. Yes, he's taller than me. Yes, I might lose. And if I lose, people on the internet will make fun of me, so I'm not going to do the fight. Are these people my fucking boss? Are these people my master? Am I going to allow them to treat me like a slave? Am I a slave to the opinions of people I've never even met? I'm an imperfect person, but the people with opinions are imperfect people. Why do I give a fuck about the opinions of imperfect people who didn't take the risk I took? I don't care about people laughing at me. And I don't care if people mock me. And that's why I took the risk in the first place. And that's why my life is the life it is. Because I've done nothing but take endless risks all the way to the top. A win is forever. And a loss is temporary. The reason a loss is temporary is because it eventually fades from your consciousness. The loss doesn't stay around for long. The world moves on, people forget, you forget. But the win stays forever. Let me give you an example. You try and start a business, and you win. You become a millionaire. You save your bloodline from eternal slavery. You buy a Pagani penthouse, they give you a free Christmas tree. You try and start a business and you lose. You lose all your money, you get pissed off and upset. A few weeks later, you try again. The loss disappears, but the win stays forever. So when you understand that wins are eternal and losses are temporary, how can you not flip the coin? How can you not roll the dice?
That's a very good point, man. That is a very good point. John Kavanaugh wrote a book, the coach of Conor McGregor. He wrote a book called, You're either winning or learning, right? There is no losing, right? And it kind of goes into what Andrew Tate is talking about. Because, yes, if you go out there and try and you lose, it's not really a loss. You just learn from this loss. So is it really losing in the first place, right? So very interesting take. All right, continue on.
You have to roll the dice. Because if you win, it's changing your entire life trajectory forever. And if you lose, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is some people on the internet are going to say some bad things about you. Some imperfect people who jerk off to porn, who have their own problems and their own struggles. Who gives a fuck what those people say? They're not the master of me. They're not in charge of me. I went out on my shield like a man, and I'll do it again. Chase beat me, but he didn't instill fear in my heart. I'm not afraid of fighting. I'm not afraid of him. He just beat me. I don't even know. I've not yet had time to process why he beat me. I got tired after the second round, and I don't know why. The first and second round, he couldn't touch me. If I didn't get tired, I would have won.
I'm a better boxer. But I did get tired. Maybe it's ring rust. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe he's too heavy and he kept leaning on me. I don't know why, but he beat me. And let me make something else very clear to you. I have complete respect for Chase Damore. Complete respect for him. Because I know the pressure he must have been under to take this fight. It was an opportunity for him, yes. And it was a risk for me. But we had pressure on different sides. Both sides of the coin, we had pressure in different directions. It would have been very difficult for him mentally, just like it was very difficult for me mentally. And for him to turn up on the day and get it done, complete respect to him. Let me give you some life advice to everyone at home, guys. Never, ever take away your opponent's victory. It's like paying a debt. If you make a bet, you're a man.
You know what? I like that. He says never take away your opponent's victory. And he's right, man. You know, Chase Damore went in here and won. Look, that fight could have gone either way. They could have given that to Andrew Tate, right? I'm telling you, that fight could have gone either way. They had a majority decision in one side. They had a draw with one of the judges. It could have literally gone either way. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know why, you know, people are making a big fuss about it. I think because of the way that Andrew Tate's face got busted up, I think that has a lot to do with it. But, yeah.
If you bet $100 on a sports team, you shake hands, and your team loses, and you don't pay your bets, what kind of man does that make you?
I mean, gambling is haram in the first place, so it's probably better that you don't engage in these bets, but yeah.
No, you have to pay your bets. The karmic forces in the universe does not and will not ever like or reward a man who doesn't pay his bets. Chase deserves this victory. He deserves the fame. He deserves the happiness. He deserves the money. He deserves the credit. He earned it. And I'm not going to take that away from him with excuses, talking about rematches, making up bullshit about how he grabbed me or some crap. He won, and he deserves it. And I pay my debts. I always pay my debts. If I want to get spiritual about all of this, you have to understand that there are forces larger than us people that exist. And I said that the answer was already written. Why did I get tired? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is that I was not supposed to win. Why was I not supposed to win? Is the world a better place now that I've lost? Maybe the win means more to Chase than it would have mean to me.
You know what? That's a very good point that Andrew is making, right? You know, he says, is the world a better place now that I lost? And the answer is no. I mean, look, here's something you got to understand, right? Here's something you got to understand about all of this, right? Your life is not getting any better just because he lost, okay? I know that a lot of you are probably very happy that Andrew Tate, you know, had lost or this, that, and the other, and that, you know, you probably think and say, well, you know what, he deserves it, he deserves to lose or this and that, but your life isn't getting any better, and that's the reason why I said what I said when I made that video reacting to the loss of Andrew and Jake Paul. But yeah, let's continue on.
Maybe Chase couldn't handle the loss. Maybe God decided, you know what, Chase has been through enough with mocking and things on the internet. Chase doesn't need the loss right now. Andrew can handle the loss better. Maybe.
Yo, that is an insane take that Andrew Tate is saying, right? He's saying that Chase probably could not handle the loss, and that is why God gave it to him. I mean, that is a crazy take, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I wholeheartedly agree with that, but at the same time, yeah, very interesting take on Andrew Tate, man. But I don't know about all that, though, man. I don't know.
Maybe God decided. Maybe if I won, we would have went out and celebrated that night, and Tristan would have smoked a bunch of cigars, and maybe he would have died 1 minute earlier. And maybe I get an extra minute with my brother because I lost. And if that...
Wow, yo, that is crazy. Fresh says, nobody cares about Tate or Jake. People see it and think loudmouth silence for 1 minute, nice, and then moves on and never thinks about them again. Yes, nobody cares about Tate or Jake. People see it and thinks loudmouth, silent for a minute, nice, and then moves on and never thinks about them again. Yes, very true. Very true. Very true. I think there's also a lot of coping that Andrew Tate is doing here as well. But yeah, you know, let's look out for that as well during this speech.
That's the case, and I'm glad I lost. You have to have faith in a higher power. There's a lesson in all of this. And I don't need to know exactly what it is. If God decides that for some reason he's going to instantly gas me when I was in perfect physical condition so that I lose, then I have to accept God's decision. And I'll take the punches in the face like a man. And I'm not going to bitch. I'm not going to complain. And I'm not going to cry. I'm going to take it. God decided on that day that that's what has to happen to me, so I did it. If you're going to go through life without understanding that there's a grander plan, a plan that's bigger than just you and your ego. The plan is bigger than just us and our egos, guys. The plan is bigger than just, oh, you know, I want to win, so I have to have what I want like a spoiled child. And what God decides, and what's good for the universe, and what's good for people to learn from, and what's good for the general karmic retributions of the planet. Fuck all that. I want to win so that no one on the internet laughs at me. It's not how it works. And I took this fight knowing it was a risk. Guys, I could have fought a tin can. I could have fought an idiot, and everyone would say, top G, top G, top G. I could have fought some nobody and beat up some nobody. But what's the point in that? Where's the lesson in that for me? Where's the lesson in that for you? Could have done it and took the money. But that's not who I am. It's never been who I am. Genuine risk, genuine reward. Got a few super chats here.
I mean, wow, man, Tate is going spiritual on this one, but all right. You know, interesting take from Andrew Tate. You wouldn't expect anything less coming off of a loss, right? You knew that he was going to have some epic, you know, talking points going into this. So, all right, let's continue on.
I'm going to read out before I continue. $300. Thank you for the $300 super chat. Sent me a message on X. I'll remember your name and I'll look for it. I'll look for your Twitter account. I hope you have the same name. $100 super chat. Match the other day was incredible. It's amazing to watch you keep pushing and getting back up. We're proud of you. You'll always be a champ in our eyes. Thank you. Means a lot to me. With a super chat. These critiquing fuckers don't have the courage to walk down the street at night. Here's a thought. Where's your critique for Mike Tyson when he fought guys 3 times younger than him? Yeah, champions lose. And let's talk about what makes me top G and what makes me a champion. Is it because I've never lost ever? Is that why I'm top G? Because I've never lost?
Remember, guys, I emphasize about this on the video. Go check it out right now. It is the first, the latest video that I have on the video section of this channel, where I talk about, yes, what is the meaning of top G? It does not mean that you have to win every fight. So, yeah, go check this out right here. Go check out that video after this live stream.
Lost anything ever? Guys, they fucking raided my house and threw me in a dungeon for something I didn't do. I lost my fucking dad. I've been to hell and back 1,000,000 times. I have struggles none of you know about. Am I top G because I never lose? What kind of man would I be if I never lost? Imagine my life went perfectly all the time. Imagine I didn't need to go to the gym and I had muscles and I never lost a fight and I had money from the sky and any girl I wanted and I just went through life and got everything I wanted. I wouldn't even be a good person. I wouldn't be human. I wouldn't know anything about how the world functions. I couldn't teach you anything. I'm not top G because I've never lost. I'm top G because I've been hit so many fucking times.
Okay, I want to address that part that Andrew Tate is talking about, right? Where he says that, you know what, if I had never lost, or if this, that, and the other. Look, a lot of people out there, this is how they see the world, right? They see the world as like, well, you know what? I'm going to laugh at the guy who's trying like Andrew Tate. Ha ha. I'm not that guy. I'm not the one that got knocked out and humiliated in front of the world. Ha ha. You know what I mean? Like, there's people out there that think, yeah, nothing ever happens to them. Like, everything that they have going on is like, yeah, nothing happens to me. Nothing happens to me. My life is perfect. Ha ha. So I'm just going to laugh at everyone who has a non-perfect life. There's a lot of people out there like that. Like, there's a lot of people out there with, you know, very secure jobs that think that their jobs can't be replaced. The next thing you know, AI comes in and now they're, you know, out of the job, right? There's people out there that have positions for a long time and they think that they are going to be there forever. And the next thing you know, they run across a boss that doesn't like them for whatever reason and then replaces them. Right? But yeah, man, don't act like you're that guy that can never, that, you know, that these things can never happen to, right? Like, that's not how this works. But yeah.
And I get back up. I'm top G because I just lost a fight and I'll fight again today. I'm top G because I'm not afraid. I'm top G because I'll keep fucking trying. Do you understand? It's not about never losing. It's about the fact that I will get up and try. It's about the fact that I'm not afraid to lose. And I'm not afraid to be ridiculed. And I'm not afraid to be mocked. That's how I built the life I built. That's how I got yachts and private jets and hundreds of millions of dollars. Because I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid to be laughed at. And I'm not afraid to get fucking hurt. That's why. I put it on the line. I get in the arena. Everyone with an opinion is on the sidelines. Imagine living a life.
Facts, man. Everyone with an opinion is on the sidelines. Yeah, I like where he's going with this right here, right? Look, I don't agree with Andrew Tate on everything, right? There's a lot of things that I'm very critical with him about, but there's also a lot of things that he says that make sense.
Life where you're so afraid of loss that you never get to win. You sit in the corner as a coward, writing Twitter comments at people who take risks you will not take. As an insignificant, unknown, a nobody. And you're so afraid of someone saying something bad about you that you're going to sit there and not take the risk. What kind of fucking man does that make you? It makes you the kind of man who is forgotten to history. Napoleon is in the history books. He lost battles. Muhammad Ali lost. Tyson lost. Champions sometimes lose. Sometimes the stars just don't align and you just lose. And you have to know that and you accept that when you agree to take the risk in the first place. And that is the barrier that prevents most people from getting anywhere. The what if I lose? What if you lose? I just lost in front of the world. Got paid 20 fucking million fucking dollars. I'm fine. I just lost. What happened? I'm fine. My life's fine. I'm fine. Some jackass wrote a Twitter comment. You think I give a single fuck? The best way to get over a loss is to keep on winning. I'm going to keep winning. I'm going to continue on my mission to teach all the things I know to as many people who will listen to me before they finally put a bullet in my neck. I'm going to continue to see my kids and live a fantastic life.
He says, I'm going to continue to do it until they put a bullet in my neck. Sounds like a bit of some Charlie Kirk reference there, don't you think?
Continue to build the real world into the largest online school that exists on planet Earth. I'm going to continue on my mission. That's how I get over a loss. I keep winning. I'll go fight again. And win or lose. It doesn't... I tried my best. And I have no explanation for what happened. But I'm not afraid to try again. No fear was instilled in me. My spirit and my heart have not been broken. Even at my old age. Perhaps I should know better. Perhaps as a lion gets older, he should be a little bit smarter about the war he gets involved in, about the fights he picks.
You know what? That is true, though. That part is true. You do have to pick your fights and your battles wisely as you get older.
But after spending so many years patrolling the savannah as the fucking biggest, most dangerous lion that exists on the planet, I don't want to change. I don't want to change. And now my joints are a little bit slower, my teeth are a little bit less sharp, and I'm walking around the savannah, and there's these other lions encroaching on my territory, and I don't want to change. I want to go fight them. Maybe I should be a bit smarter. Maybe I should know better. But that's what got me here. It's all I've ever known. I've never known how to say no to a challenge. Not in a stupid, idiotic street fight bullshit way. In a, there's genuine reward for me attempting this way. You can't undo moves in life. And one of the thoughts I've been having these last couple of days is, if I knew I was going to lose, would I have still fought? And the answer is yes. In fact, if I knew I was going to lose, it would have even been more important that I fought.
You know what? What's crazy is that it is as if he is saying he knew he was going to lose going into this fight, right? Like, that's sort of what I'm gathering out of Tate right now. He's saying that he felt like, you know what? I was going to lose this fight anyway, but I'm going to go in here and try my darnest best, so.
Because if I were to not fight just because I'd lose, then I'd really be a coward. And I said before the fight, I'm here to fight. I don't think about win and lose. I'm here to fight. And I meant it. If a genie came to me and said, I've seen the future, you lose this fight, Andrew, are you still going to do it? I said, now I have to. Now I have to. I'm not a coward. I might be an older lion, but I'm not a coward. And let an old lion tell you young kids something. Time fucking flies, bro. I remember winning my first world title. I was 23 years old. I was Wolverine. I could heal in a day, things that now take a week. I'm not so old. I'm 39. But staying active till 39 is very different than coming out of a 10-year retirement at 39. If I was 23, would I beat Chase? Of course. Would I have beat Chase 3 years ago? Before the Romanians threw me in a fucking jail cell and forced me to sit in my house for 3 years for no reason? Yeah. Am I bitter? Am I going to sit here and cry that the Romanian government, the most corrupt government in the fucking EU, stole my prime years, my last years I could fight at my best? Am I going to cry about it?
Well, to be fair, it doesn't mean that he was going to fight either way, right? Like, that's not an indication that he was going to fight regardless of whether the Romanians were going to put him in jail or not. I just think that he got thrown an opportunity, and as a result of that opportunity, he decided, all right, you know what, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take this opportunity, and that's that. But, yeah, I don't think, I don't think the Romanians prevented him from fighting. I don't think that fight was even in his circumference at that time. But I don't know, man. You know?
No. You can't undo moves in life. You just have to look at the chessboard, understand that certain moves have been made, and move forward. This is the key. The key is that your mind must be able to instantly regenerate. If you ever talk to an alcoholic, alcoholics are obsessed with the past. I've noticed this. Whenever I talk to an alcoholic, all they talk about is the past. It's like, hi, alcoholic. Hi, yeah, my kid died. Da-da-da. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. They're obsessed with the past all of the time. You need to be able to regenerate your mind. If you can't do that, you just rot. Imagine your body gave up on regeneration. Imagine you cut your finger and your body said, nah, just keep bleeding. I give up on this whole regenerative garbage. It's unfathomable for you people to imagine a world in which your body gives up regenerating because you know that you're going to simply decay and die. But your mind has given up on regenerating long ago, and you're not trying to fix it. You're not sitting going, all the bad things that happen to me, my mind needs to instantly regenerate. I need to take the lessons from them, learn so I become more capable and more competent, and move forward. That's it. It happened. Here's the lesson I learned. Move forward. Done. If you can't do that, you rot and you die. And I just told you that time flies. You're sitting at home, if you're a young man in your 20s watching this, one day you're going to blink and you're going to be 40 like I am. What are you going to do with the next 2 decades? You're scared of starting a business or going up to a girl or getting in the ring. You're scared of making a name for yourself. You're scared of the world knowing who you are. You're scared of going in the UFC. You're scared of getting up there and taking a risk in case people fucking laugh at you. You're going to die soon. One day you're going to be old, wishing you did it when you're young. What are you waiting for?
You know what? Let me explain something to you guys about that, right? I think he brought up something really interesting that I wanted to bring up with you guys. Let me put the camera on me here real quick. Okay. So, all right, he's absolutely right about that, right? I know guys that I've grown up with, right? Guys that are in shape, guys that are athletic, and they tell me all the time, he's like, bro, you know what? I wish when I was younger, I did fighting like you, or I wished I tried. You know what, man? Listen, I grew up with a lot of athletic people, okay, that never went to the NFL, that never went to the NBA. So it was like, man, why don't you get into fighting? You're an athletic guy. They don't do it because why? Because let's just be honest, there's a lot of risk that's involved in fighting, and they're not just gonna, you know, step in the ring or step in the cage and do that for no reason, right? That's what a lot of these guys are, man. You know what I'm saying? So Andrew Tate is absolutely right about that. He is absolutely right about that. There's a lot of people out there that, you know, refuse to take risks, and one day you get old, and now we're in our 40s, and they just realize, you know, they never had an experience getting in the ring. They never had experience trying something new. They never had experience trying to get on YouTube, trying to, you know, form a business. They never had any of that. And Andrew Tate is absolutely right about that.
Time to go backwards?
Yeah, man, Andrew Tate's
After the fight,
dropping
Chase said I
games
helped
right
him.
now. Dropping gems.
Mentally. If you judge a teacher by the quality of his students, the fact I managed to instill and help him enough with his mindset so that he could beat even me makes me proud of him and proud of myself. It's like Master Splinter teaching the Ninja Turtle so well that he could beat him. Another thing, I want all of you to, at home, to learn from this experience that we went through. I lost. So I'm not a perfect person. If I'm imperfect, and I'm human, and I'm fallible, just like you, and I've achieved so much, I've made hundreds of millions of dollars from nothing. I became the most Googled man on the planet, one of the most well-known people who exist in the world today. I have all of my dreams. My mother is happy. All my children are happy. I have everything I've ever wished for. I have everything. If me, as an imperfect person, can achieve so much, why don't you have everything you want? Is it because I take risks that you won't take? Is it because I'm not scared of being laughed at? Is it because I understand that the clock is ticking? Is it because I have urgency inside of my soul? Is it because I do not need motivation? Because I am determined? Is it because I understand that I am not going to waste 3 years wondering what if? I just want to go and find out now? Why do I, an imperfect, beatable man, have so much more than you? This is a question you need to ask yourself as a professional. Let's analyze this. Why does Andrew Tate, a man who is beatable and fallible and human, have so much more than me? You should have the same things I have. And for the same reason I just said I'm proud of Chase, and I'm glad that I taught him things that allowed him to beat me, I hope all of you become more famous, more well-known, more rich, more successful than I am. You're watching my show. I want the absolute best for you. I'm not a hater. I'm not one of them fucking guys who wants others to lose so he feels better. I want all of my students to win. If you're inside the real world watching this, you join to make money and you see that we teach you how to make money. I want you to do better than me. That's going to be my legacy. Top G is not about fighting. Top G is not about never losing. Top G, everyone says to me, is you helped with my mindset. You helped me. That's what I am about. That's what all of this is about. Perhaps that's why God made me lose, so that I had things to say on today's emergency meeting besides, ha ha ha, I won. Maybe that's why. I want you guys to win. I want you to win more than you want to win. Because when I try and teach you how to win, when I say join the real world and dedicate yourselves, you won't do it. I'm trying to drag you to happiness while you kick and scream like a fucking child, refusing to do any work, refusing to try. During the fight camp, Tristan interviewed hundreds of newly made millionaires. Fight camp wasn't all I was doing. I was helping you guys get rich at the same time. During fight camp, Tristan interviewed 100 of newly made millionaires we made in the last 6 months. We made 100 people millionaires in the last 6 months, and Tristan did an interview with all of them. You could be one. You might be one in 2026. We have amazing things coming up. 2026 is your year if you want it to be. It's certainly my year. 2026 is my year. You think because I lost a fight that it's not my fucking year when I collect my yacht and sit with my beautiful children? Of course it's my year. Let me see who's at my door. Hopefully it's not remaining police. Workers repairing something in my $30 million penthouse. I apologize. The G in Top G stands for get up. This ain't the last beating I'm going to take. I've got a whole bunch more beatings in store. God probably has a big pile of beatings waiting for me. God has a big bag of beatings with my name on it. It's kind of like crypto, you know? You think it'll never get any worse? It get worse. You know, after the last 3 or 4 years we've had of hell, jail and getting thrown in house arrest and the media lying about us and insulting us, we only got free in February, guys. Don't forget, I was locked in my house for 3 years until 8 months ago. I said to Tristan, the universe probably owes me this win, you know? I've been through so much. God and the universe probably owe me this win. I'm going to trade my ass off, but after all I've been through, they'll give it to me. Big bag of beatings with my name on it. And it won't be the last. I'm sure in 6 months from now something else is going to happen and say like, man, I've been through so much shit. So many bad things happen to me. Why now? Why again? But all the superheroes out here know that's how life works, right? Just when you think it can't get any worse, just when you think you're down, another kick comes, another kick comes, another kick comes. You know what makes you a G? Because you get up. This ain't my last beating. More is coming. And I'm going to stand there and smile in the face of every single beating God sends my way. And I promise you, you can shoot me with as many bullets as you like. I remain unfazed. You may beat me, but I won't quit. And I won't give up. And you're not going to break my spirit, and you're not going to break my heart, and you're not going to make me afraid. And that's a message not just to fighters, that's a message to the fucking government, that's a message to the police, that's a message to the people who are planning to kill me, that's a message to all of you. As long as I'm breathing, I'm not afraid of any of you. Fuck you. feel sorry for myself. I don't sit around hoping my enemy's gonna have mercy on me. I don't mope around the house like, oh, please stop. No, fuck you. I'll get up. Kick my ass. I'll get up. That's why I'm top G. Not because I always win, because I always get up. The worst possible existence, the worst possible version of life would be to give up hope for the future. And I think a lot of people give up hope for the future because they start getting scared of all those beatings that are coming, right? They sit and say, you know what? I've lost my girl, lost my house, lost my money, lost my car, and now I want to sit on top of it all. I just want to give up. I quit. I have no hope for the future anymore. And one of those powerful things about not being afraid of taking beatings, I can never lose hope for the future. I know beatings coming. I don't care. In fact, part of me kind of likes it. Maybe I'm just stubborn, you know? I like being that guy who's like, we've kicked his ass, and he just won't fucking shut up.
You know who's like that? Conor McGregor also. You can literally beat on Conor McGregor and, you know, he comes back just talking a whole gang of smack. You know, either he wins or whether he wins or he loses, so.
We've taken all his money, we threw him in jail, we threatened to kill him. He won't stop. Why won't he stop? We tried to make this man kill himself while we insulted him in the media. The second he gets free, he goes to fight some heavyweight. What's this guy doing? The harder you hit me, every single time I get back up, something in my soul goes, you're annoying, man, Andrew. And that gives me all I need to carry on. I don't lose hope for the future. I'm not scared of all the bad things that come my way because I know there's going to be a whole bunch of good things to do. And perhaps my job here as a man is to be a vessel from which others get to experience things and learn things and improve their lives. I get to teach you all lessons. I get to teach my children lessons. I sat with my son. He said, what happened to your face, Dad? I said, lost a fight. He goes, why did you lose? I said, I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm a better fighter. I don't know. But even if I knew I was going to lose, I'd still fight. And boy, you're going to have to fight. And you're going to fight whether you win or lose. And he said, yes, sir. Maybe that's why God wanted me to lose for that conversation. Maybe he wanted me to lose for this emergency meeting. Maybe I'm about to save someone's life. Maybe my job on this planet is just to take a fucking beating over and over again and just pay for everyone else and give everybody else what they want. To make sure the mothers of my kids have a fantastic life, and to make sure my kids have a fantastic life, and to teach you all things. And maybe I'm just here to fucking suffer and get my ass kicked, and I'm going to do it all so I can give everyone else a fantastic life, and give everyone else mindset advice. Nobody gives me mindset advice. Nobody helps me. Nobody helps me with my mindset and saves me when I'm depressed. No, maybe I'm just here to take a fucking beating like a pinata and give candy to everybody else. Maybe that's what God's plan was for me. But I ain't gonna fucking cry about it. If that's what God wants me to do, then that's what I'm gonna fucking do. Tristan said to me, what happened? I said, I got tired. I don't know why. He said, you deserve that when you've been through so much. You deserve that win. I know. Because you trained so hard. You're in fantastic shape. I said, I know. I just got tired. If I didn't get tired, I would have beat you. Couldn't hit me in the first round. Couldn't touch me. And he said to me, I'm tired, Andrew, of watching you find the silver linings in all of the clouds. You deserve to have a sunny day. You're so good at finding a silver lining on a cloud. Every time something bad happens, you find a way to learn something or make it good. But I'm tired of you having to suffer all the time. And look for the silver linings. Why can't you just ever have a nice day? Why can't you ever have a sunny day? And I said, well, we've had so many fucking clouds. They've got a lot of fucking silver. so I guess that's what it is. I'm so good at finding the silver lining. When you throw me a cloud, I'll find the silver. Now I'll be piloting hundreds of billions of dollars of it. Anyone who thinks less of me for doing something I didn't have to do, for money I didn't need, for taking a risk with my life, has a character defect and a morality defect. And they're not the kind of people I want to like me. So that's fine. Anyone I've inspired has made it all worth it. And if I could go back in time, knowing the result, knowing I would lose in front of the world, I'd do it again.
All right, so real interesting take by Andrew Tate. By the way, Leandro says your character looked like Andrew Tate. My character has a little bit of some stubble in his hair, right? And has a lineup like mine, like obviously with no mustache and a beard. But yeah, listen. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna recap the whole entire event that happened this week, right? We're gonna go over the cards. And but before that, I want to react to everything that he just said right now, right? Which I think is very important to sort of bring up. Let me just look for this full card right here. Tapology MMA. Okay. Okay, so a lot of the things that Andrew Tate was talking about in that one, right, is talking about basically going out there and trying your best, even if knowing that you're going to lose. And then he brings up something to the effect that a lot of people out there are just, haters, right? You know, every time you try something, you know, they're going to be there to just talk bad about you, to kick you down, because that's what people do, bro. Listen, a lot of people feel better about themselves when they kick others down. That's just really what it is. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. You look, I agree with him. I hate people like that. I hate people that kick others when they are down because they want to feel better about themselves. But the reality is that guy is the winner and you're not, right? Because he went out there and tried, and that's really all there is to it. So, okay, this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to go over the whole entire card, okay? And once we go over the whole entire card, we will also look at the rest of the cards, okay? Well, first, let's take a look at the rest of the cards, okay? So what do we got right here? Okay, so you had Sultan versus Antonio. He defeats him by KO. You had Ben Williams versus Niche LMAO. Okay, Niche. Okay, we'll call him Leash. Defeats him by decision. David Lopez defeats Joey Barreto by second round KO. Armando Vargas taking on Dean DeGreat. Yeah, this was an interesting fight right here. I mean, these guys were going at each other, talking smack, saying all types of things about people's family. Dean DeGreat said something to Armando saying that, yeah, you know, you need to tell your mom to shut up and go to the kitchen. We're in Dubai. Very interesting banter right there. Niraj actually gets a decision over Anthony Taylor, right? Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor, the Indian boxer. Carla Jade gets a win over Taylor Starling, unanimous decision. And then you got Tony Ferguson beating Warren Spencer, right? It's great seeing Tony Ferguson get these wins, you know, very late into his career. Obviously, he had, you know, some bad losses along the way coming out of the UFC, but then leaving the UFC and going into boxing. I mean, it's just great. It's great, and it's a feel-good story seeing him win, and it was an overall retribution for the old dogs of MMA, considering the fact that Jake Paul has beaten many MMA fighters, right? And now seeing these MMA fighters get retribution on the same week that his fight was going on. So let's go to the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua card. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Okay, and we're going to go full card. Check out the full card on this one. And then in the end, guess what we're going to do? We're going to react to Andrei Arlovski getting into a fight with, what's his name? Jack Doherty. All right, so let's take a look at the... Okay. So obviously we've talked about it in great length about Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. We knew the results of that. This one right here, Alicia Baumgartner taking on Layla Bedouin. So, biggest boxing star. Okay, standout performance, dominated, a former champion. Okay, so Alicia Baumgartner wins by unanimous decision. 117 to 110, 118 to 108. Okay, so delivered a composing, punishing performance to defeat Layla by unanimous decision. Patient counter-punching, sharp jabs. And then we had Tyrone Woodley taking on Anderson Silva. Obviously, that knockout by Anderson Silva, second round TKO, right? Great on Anderson Silva. Now, after that win, he is going into becoming a police officer. By the way, how about that little fake kick that Anderson Silva tried to throw only for him to knock out Tyrone Woodley? That was amazing. This was a good fight as well. Jamal Harvey versus Kevin Cervantes. Jamal Harvey defeats Kevin Cervantes, unanimous decision. Harvey controlled his second professional outing from start to finish, okay, earning a unanimous decision. Had an early knockdown opening in the round, consistently outboxing Cervantes with speed. Okay, so who else was on this card right here? Yeah, we've had a few other fights as well. Let's see if I can take a look at the full card on this one so that we can go on to Andrei Arlovski. Okay, so Jamal Harvey. Before that, there was Johnson taking on Gale. Unanimous decision. Caroline Dubois, okay, unanimous decision. That was a world title fight. The sister of Daniel Dubois, who, by the way, did rounds with Jake Paul leading up to it. Valley versus Bustelos, majority decision. Left hook by Avius Griffin. Man, yeah, that was a crazy, crazy knockout earlier tonight. Keno Marley, right? The Brazilian boxer. His debut, pro debut, gets a unanimous decision. Great way to start off his pro career. All right, so let's get to the next topic at hand. Okay? The next topic at hand is Jack Doherty versus Andrei Arlovski. Okay, let's get to this right here.
If you're an illegal alien, this runway is your future because you're headed home.
Happy holiday.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start talking about that in about less than 30 seconds from now. So 30 seconds. We're going to have a little bit of some talk on this particular subject right now. So less than 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I gotta tell you, this whole entire weekend's whole entire theme goes as something as follows. It goes like this. YouTubers and influencers getting their asses kicked by real fighters. That is the overall theme. You had it with Jake Paul getting beat up by Anthony Joshua, having his jaw broken and his teeth busted up, and now eating through a straw for God knows how long. And then you had Andrew Tate getting humbled by Chase Demore. But wait, there's more. Then you got Jack Doherty, okay? Social media sensation, by the way, a total pest of a human being, okay? In fact, him and his crew got jumped by Andrei Arlovski. We're going to react to it. But first, let me give you a little bit of some introduction onto who Jack Doherty is, right? Let's take a look at some of Jack Doherty's best moments.
Who is this guy? Hey, let me have one too. No, I'm kidding. Holy shit. Huh? Excuse me, sir. Who? Chat, who is he?
Soccer.
He has 2 watches on.
Soccer?
Yeah, he's soccer. They're saying, whoa, Nunez. No way. Bro is a famous soccer player.
Okay, that one was a little bit tame, right? But yeah, let's see some of his untouchable moments that he tries to walk around and. Obviously, trying to purposely provoke people into a fight. This is what Jack Doherty does, right? And, well, you'll see. He got what he wanted out of Andrei Arlovski. I mean, did he not know who Andrei Arlovski was? I mean, very similar to how he did not know that Nunez soccer player guy. Maybe he didn't know that Andrei Arlovski was a former heavyweight champion. By the way, the only guy to have ever... Well, I wouldn't say he went the distance with Tom Aspinall, but he lasted longer than most people against Tom Aspinall, where Tom Aspinall was laying people out in the first round. So even at 40 plus or in his mid 40s, close to his 50s, man, Andre Arlovski is still an animal. But yeah, this is Jack Doherty in a nutshell. This is what he does. He's a button pusher. He does these types of contents where he provokes people, and Andre Arlovski was no different.
What? Well, probably gonna do. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
And then, of course, he's got his bodyguards behind him, basically doing the same thing, right? And then we fast forward to this weekend. This is what happened right here. Look at that, Jack Doherty basically fixing his shirt as his friends were getting beat up by Andre Arlovski. All right, so I guess you guys get the picture, right? I mean, yes, this is the literal theme of the weekend. Okay, you chat shit, you get banged. On top of that, if you are looking for a problem, there are guys out there that are willing to give you that problem, both inside the ring and outside the ring. This was the portion that happened outside of the ring, and as a result of that, listen, Jack Doherty got what he wanted, but at the same time, Andre Arlovski got what he wanted. Let me tell you what he got out of this. What he got out of this was promotion. You understand that Andre Arlovski is fighting for a BKFC title coming up, right? This is great promotion for him. As for Jack Doherty, well, now he may open himself into the realm of combat sports, right? Who knows, right? He could fight smaller guys that are also influencers, or he can continue doing this, basically haggling MMA fighters, boxers, and trained killers just to make content out of it. So, on that regard, the jackass of the entire weekend was not Andrew Tate. It was not Jake Paul, because at least they tried. It is Jack Doherty, who didn't even try while all of his friends were getting beat up. This is what he does. He's fixing his shirt. Oh, I gotta look good. I gotta look good while my boys are getting beat up and my bodyguard is over there getting beat up. But that's all there really is to it. It's just, you know, pure ignorance of it all. I mean, listen, am I the type of guy that enjoys ignorance to a certain extent? Yes. This one, I think this was a little bit forced. I don't think there's really any real beef in here other than the actual punches that were being thrown. Now, I do agree that these are real punches that are being thrown, but at the same time, I also think that it was a case of opportunity that they needed to take in this moment of time, and that is exactly what they did. Jack Doherty does what Jack Doherty does, but at the same time, Andre Arlovski, who's a very quiet guy, doesn't mess with anybody, doesn't try to haggle anybody, doesn't try to pick fights with anybody outside of the cage or outside of the ring. Now he gets promotion for his next upcoming fight and continuing on his legacy to that extent. So with that in mind, guys, that is all that I have for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one, inshallah.